here. I'm super excited about these. They go down to up instead of up to down, which I'm a big fan of. I know you guys were just wondering about that in your cars driving home. We got a good show for you tonight. We have Danny Emmerman's going to come on and break down some Giants. Then Greg Beecham, he covers the Lakers for the Associated Press. We'll talk some Dubs and Lakers and see what happens tonight over here at Chase. I'm excited to, I don't know, I think they're sending it back to Los Angeles. I think they're going to win tonight. Matt Kolsky is going to join us as soon as the game's over to take your calls. If you're driving to the game right now, on your way home, turn on KNBR. Matt and I will take some calls. Then Matt will take it from 10 to midnight, so he's going to be here forever. I think he's spending the night in the studio tonight, but it's cool. He knows his basketball. He's a good dude. So we're excited to hear what he has to think about the game tonight. He'll break it down better than I can, which is cool because it's hard for me to watch the game, do a show, watch the game, do a show. When I do the Giants post-game show, I'm keeping score. I'm taking notes. I'm there early, talking to the manager, talking to players. So I think it's cool that Kolsky's coming in to help me tonight. So that'll be exciting. All right, I guess we start with Giants because we're going to have a lot of Warriors later in the show. But I'm open to anything. Just like you guys know, it's our show, 808 KNBR, if you want to chime in about anything. The Giants with a tough one today. And, I think S is starting to get real all of a sudden. And the old saying is you are what you are after 40 games. They're 36 games into it right now, and they're 16-20. Like, I'm not going to say the sky is falling. I'm not going to sit here. I think patience is big with the season. But when you lose 2 out of 3 of the Nationals, a team that lost 107 games last year, I think there's reason for concern. Not panic, but concern. You saw, Michael Conforto, there were some bright sides, I guess, to the game today. He broke up a 1-for-26 with a home run. Lamont Wade Jr. hit a home run, and then Casey Schmidt's been the story, and we'll get to Casey in a second. But the free agent additions in the staff this winter are combined 1-3 with a 7.31 and 15 appearances, 10 starts. Sean Manaea today was concerning. And you guys know I'm positive. I'm always positive on this show, but there comes a point when you have to be credible too. And criticizing or having an opinion on something is not saying that the manager is the worst manager ever, or the GM or the ownership or whatever it is. You can talk about baseball in a professional way as to not say, make it personal. But today was like the first time I sat in the stands, and I was sitting with a longtime season ticket holder, and he was really frustrated about a number of things. He sits right down in the front row. He's there all the time, and he just wanted to air it out to me today. And it was interesting to see all the things or hear all the things he had to say, and I've heard that from a lot of my friends. But before we get to that, today was the first day I was either in the press box or in the stands, and I was wondering why Sean Manaea was out there for so long. You could see early on that he didn't have it. First inning, okay. Second inning, he was getting barreled up all over the place. His command was off. He was going deep into counts. He was walking guys. And some days you just don't have it. And I feel like you have to know your personnel so well that you know those days where maybe a third of an inning is too long on certain days, and you got to get him out of there for the sake of the team. Now, in Gabe's defense, I will say they're going to Arizona where the ball flies. It didn't last year. The humidor's been completely unplugged, and it's flying again there. That team can play, and maybe he needs his whole bullpen there. But before you knew it today, that game was over. It was 8-0. And if I can see it sitting there, I think a lot of fans saw it sitting there. It was like nobody was up in the bullpen, and the ball was just flying all over the campsite with a lot of exit velo. And there was barrels being hit left and right. Sean Manaea might be one of the nicest guys I've met in a long time. He's got a wonderful smile. He's got a great demeanor. He's a guy you want to root for. He's not a bad pitcher, but today he had a tough day. And in my opinion, Gabe Kapler's not a bad manager, but today I was wondering why Manaea was out there so long. Now, I know it's hard to go to the bullpen in the second inning. It screws up your whole pen for the next year. I get all that. But if you're trying to win a series against a team that lost 107 games last year, that game was over immediately. 8-0, the game's over. So in the third inning, it was 8-0. And so now you got 6 innings just to kind of play out, where you have to show that you're still into it. You have to do the whole false hustle thing. You bear down for your at-bats because they go on the back of your baseball card. But at 16-20, 6 games back, the Giants are 1 game out of last place on May 10th. I almost said May 20th. May 10th. The Rockies, who are in last place, are 16-22. The Giants are 1 game out of last place right now. Like I said, it's early, but is it? So I guess there's so much good vibes around Casey Schmidt. I still think there's cause for concern all of a sudden. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say the sky is falling, the season's over, because they could turn this around. I told you I was around a team that was 19-31 and won a World Series. So by no means is the season over, but, I feel like there's a little bit of cause for concern. This is a series, if you're thinking about October, that you should have won. This wasn't the Mets. This wasn't the Braves. This wasn't, I don't know, even the Pirates right now are playing good baseball, or the Yankees, or some good teams that they played. This was the Washington Nationals, a team that lost 100. They were 55 and 107 last year. These are series and games you have to win. And I think Anthony DeSclafani can have a hiccup. He's been pitching well. In a team that puts the ball in play, it was kind of refreshing, to be honest, to see a team that was pesky and put the ball in play for the most part instead of striking out a lot. So while there's good things going on, Conforto, this could be the start of something great. Lamont Wade Jr. might be the early story of the year with his rebound, his health, and the way he's having great at-bats. He's going 3-2 count. He's seeing more pitches than anybody in baseball, and he's hitting dingers. Playing a pretty good first base, too, by the way. But getting back to the longtime season ticket holder, he was concerned. He was concerned about the attendance today. It was 21,000, I think. I'll get the numbers up there, but it didn't look like it, if I'm being honest. And he was concerned about the product on the field. He thought all the players were the same kind of player. And he's been there a long time. And he was really excited about Casey Schmidt, but he was also talking about maybe having a player that we can all fall in love with. And I've heard this from my friends before. So I don't know what your thoughts are about today or the state of the team or the interest level that you have right now. I know you're probably on your way to the Warriors game. We're going to transition into Warriors here probably at the bottom of the hour and talk some Dubs. Matt Kolsky is going to join us around 6:40, and we're going to preview the game. But I thought I'd start out with my wheelhouse, and that's the Giants, and I think the story is relevant enough to talk about. Now, if we want to rewind a little bit to last night and Casey Schmidt, that was cool. That was a different vibe and a different energy and a different electricity in the ballpark that I'd seen all year. And I mean, this isn't like Bryce Harper getting called up. This isn't like the biggest prospect in baseball, but he's our guy. And I think as Giants fans, we go back to 10, 12, and 14, and we as fans won those championships as fans with our guys. They were homegrown dudes. They came up through our minor league system. We drafted them. We developed them. Here comes Mad Bum. Here comes Buster. Here comes Timmy. Here comes Wilson. However, whoever. And there's something different about when you draft and develop a guy, he comes up and you hear about him. And we heard about Casey Schmidt. You guys know there was part of me that thought he should have made the team in spring training, that he was that impressive. And I talked about it on the air. And here he is. It's only 2 games. If he'd have been 0 for 8, I'd still be on that Casey Schmidt bandwagon. It's nice that he's 4 for 9 or 4 for 8, whatever he is, with a home run double and a couple of knocks. But I think, and I said this last night if you missed it after the game, so forgive me for repeating myself if you heard it, I think that the energy and the vibe of the ballpark last night was that the Giants fans are thirsty to wrap their arms around someone, to have a new hero, to go out and buy somebody's jersey that, A, they know is a Giant and is going to be a Giant forever or for a long time. I know they locked up Logan Webb for 5 more years. That's awesome. But, like, the fact that Casey Schmidt's, the youngest guy to hit a home run in his major league debut since some guy named Will Clark. I mean, there was just so much love and positivity and great energy in the ballpark last night. And I'm retelling this story if you missed it after the game. I was going down to say hi to a friend, and I'm going to watch from the concourse. I think it was section 122. And I'm going to stay at the top stairs until Schmidt's at-bat's over. It was the second at-bat. And he hits the home run. I watch it. I look to my right, and his whole family's there. And to see the group of 60 from San Diego just going nuts and losing their mind, it was kind of goosebump city. It was emotional. I tweeted about it last night. I'm at Fightin' Hydrant on Twitter if you want to give me a follow. It was just cool to see that energy, that electricity, and it takes us all back. And what a young guy can do to a clubhouse, and it didn't happen today, day game after night game, and we'll see how it happens moving forward. It can make a veteran player see the game differently. It can make a veteran player that, sometimes it becomes a little bit businessy, where you check in, you get to the ballpark at a certain time, you're on the training table at a certain time, you're in the batting cage at a certain time, you do your workout at a certain time, you stretch at a certain time, batting practice, game, go home, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day. And sometimes you lose sight of how damn lucky you are to be a professional athlete and be playing for the San Francisco Giants in front of the best fans in the world. And so what happens is a young kid comes in there, and you start to see things vicariously through his eyes. Like the smile on his face when he walks in the clubhouse. You congratulate him. You haven't seen him since spring training. He looks at the lineup card. He sees his name on the card. He's all excited. He's out there taking pictures. He's taking team pictures with his family a half hour before the game yesterday on the field. I'm like, dude, I'm thinking to myself, are you ready for this game? Obviously he was. Very calm, very confident. He has the look. He had the look in spring training. But a guy like that can infuse a different viewpoint and a different energy in the clubhouse. It didn't happen today. It's hard to play uphill, man. When you're down 5-0 in the first, or you're down 8-0 after 3, as a player, you're just like, oh my God. Like, we have to finish this game. And it's like torture. You're standing on defense. You know everybody's talking about you in the stands. You're getting your ass kicked, and you have to just wear it for 3 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes, whatever it is now. Those are the worst games. So hopefully, they go to Arizona and figure things out, and that energy that Casey Schmidt's providing. I've seen one guy make a difference, not with, he's hitting 500, but with his attitude, his effort, his energy in a clubhouse. I've seen a guy turn things around. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on Casey Schmidt, but it's nice to see him up here. It's nice to see Brett Wisely doing well. I think he's going to be a good big league baseball player. He's fun to watch. I've been saying since spring training, I like to watch the kids run around. I think it's cool. Blake Sable made a nice play in left field today. He didn't try to bunt with 2 strikes, thank God. So we'll see how this whole thing goes. Let's go to Rod Modesto. Rod, you're going to lead us off tonight, Rod. What's going on?
Hey, SP, how are you? So how are you?
Good.
Okay. Hey, I'd like to talk, tell a little story about the Casey Schmidt from a couple years ago, but I also would like to, as a Giant fan, from my first game that I went to was in 1978. So I followed them for a long time, and I have, like your season ticket holder friend, I have my 2 cents if I could. So
sure, it's your show. I always say, or it's our show. So yeah, and
okay.
I think everybody wants to hear, what you're thinking right now as a Giants fan based on the first 36 games.
Okay, you got it. So a couple years ago, my kids actually arranged for me to throw out a first pitch at a Modesto Nuts game, and for Father's Day, which was really cool. And they were playing the San Jose Giants, and me being a lifelong Giants fan, threw out the first pitch, and then we had our tickets right by the on-deck circle for the Giants. And I was trying to engage with the players as they came up on the on-deck circle, see if they would say anything, or I was having fun. And none of them would engage at all except for this one player, Casey Schmidt, who we had a good banter back and forth. And then he stepped up into the box to hit, and he actually foul-tipped one into, I don't know how he did it, into his face, if that makes any sense. He fouled it into his face and was just bleeding profusely. They actually took him to the hospital.
I saw. I've seen Reese Hoskins do that. He was playing the Dodgers for the Phillies in Dodger Stadium. He fouled the ball off his face with a full swing. So yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but took him to the hospital and whatever. But I just thought it was so cool that he engaged with us and talked with us. And so I decided, teaching my kids a lesson, who are not, baseball is not their favorite sport. I've been trying to win them over. I said, you know what? I'm going to send this guy a handwritten note. And so I wrote Casey Schmidt a handwritten note addressed to the San Jose Giants. And I said, hey, look, you were the icing on the cake for my Father's Day. I got to throw out the pitch. You engaged with us. And I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're doing better from, being hit. Around 3 weeks later, I come home from work, and there's a box from the mailman on my front porch, and it's from Casey Schmidt with a nice letter, a couple balls in there, some cards, unsolicited, and just was really cool. The next week, the San Jose Giants came to town again, and this was during COVID, where none of the players were really interacting with the fans. And I was able to go to that game, and I said, hey, Casey, and he recognized me and came over, and we had a good chat. And this is when he was in single A. I didn't even know he was the second-round draft pick for the Giants until after the first game that I met him. And so I followed him since then, and it was really cool to watch last night. It's really nice to see, someone that is so genuine and just so, just down to earth make it, And I'm sure he's going to have a great career. I hope so. But, like I said, that Father's Day was pretty incredible for me. So,
it sounds like he gets it. He gets it, and he's a humble guy, and that's what I've heard from people. And we had him in the bunker last night, and he was just glowing, as you would imagine. And he waited for me to go to commercial break Like we got done with the interview, he was still sitting in his seat, and he was polite enough to wait for me to throw it to commercial, to shake my hand and say thanks for the interview. So hopefully he doesn't change and like get earrings and be driving fast cars and all over the place and sunglasses. He doesn't talk to any of us anymore, but as of right now, he seems like a really humble kid, and I like that.
You got FP. My 2 cents from the Giants. I was really down on them when they got almost swept by the Kansas City Royals, who had like one of the worst records in baseball last year at home. And if it wasn't for a fantastic 8th inning, we would have gotten swept. The only full game I've watched since then, and like I said, I've been a fan since '78. I just made the decision. I got time. Where am I gonna put my time? And it wasn't sitting in front of the TV watching Giant games, unfortunately. But last night I watched a full game because of Casey Schmidt being called up. Now, I think that I am so disappointed in ownership, frankly, and that's where I put this on. I am so sick. It's almost like they just don't understand. They're living inside the box and they don't get it. Why would anyone choose Philadelphia and the Phillies over San Francisco and the Giants, the ballpark, and that? And we come in, we always go after these big price free agents, but we come in equal. And they don't understand that the ballpark is not conducive to offense. And when they actually had those gates opened up and the wind was blowing through there and we were hitting a ton of home runs, now those gates are closed, right? So that didn't make sense. But then secondly, we need to understand that if we want those high-priced free agents, the Judds of the world, we're going to have to overpay. We're going to have to overpay with the tax rates here in the state of California, with the offensive capabilities of Pac Ballpark. That's how far back I go. But it's just, we have to overpay, and I just don't get it. It's almost as like I can write the script every time. Oh, we're going to go after this guy. We're going to go after Ohtani. We're going to go after these guys. And I can guarantee we're going to come in second, and then they're going to send out a press release and say, oh, well, we tried. I am sick and tired of them trying. They had the money. They have the money, and they do not want to let go of the money. And it just lacks perspective of the ballpark and the type of person, the free agents that we need to attract, or what it takes to get those in the situation that we're in. And that's just frustrating to me. It's really frustrating because we've seen this time in and time again. We go after someone, and then basically we send out a press release and say, oh, well, we tried. I am sick and tired of the trying. They need to get it done.
All right, Rod, we're up against the clock, man. Thanks for your Casey Schmidt story, and thanks for your strong opinion, dude. I appreciate you calling.
Thank you.
All right, Rod. That's Rod Modesto coming in hot with a nice leadoff call. Very passionate, and I always encourage that kind of stuff. All right, I see some people on hold. Stay right there. We got to take care of business, take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to FP Santangelo. This is KNBR Tonight on The Sports Leader.
Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
Mike Krukow tells Murph and Mac why he needs to see Casey Schmidt play as often as possible after hitting his first big league tater last night. That podcast and so much more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app. All right, our good friend Steve Moskowitz is on the line. He's been waiting on hold while I take these long calls. Steve, thanks for waiting. I know you want to tell everybody about the ERC today.
That's right, because your listeners have the opportunity to get up to $26,000 for every employee they had in 2020 and 21 if they qualify. Now, there's two different ways to qualify, and it's come to my attention that some CPAs are only doing the easy test, the math test. Did your gross revenue go down by a certain amount? That's one way to qualify. But the other way to qualify is a facts and circumstances test, and that is what I've seen so many people ignoring. So the bottom line is, if you were told you don't qualify for ERC, talk to us for a second opinion. Let's see if you do qualify. And if you do, let's get every dollar to which you're legally entitled.
All right, thanks, Steve. I think I had 2 jobs in 20 and 21, so I'm worth about $50,000. That's awesome. Call Steve Moskowitz at 1-888-TAX-DEAL or visit him at moskowitzllp.com.
1-1 pitch. That one is hit to right center field. Slater shaded the opposite way. Sprinting over, makes a dive, and he can't catch it. It's by him to the wall, and that'll score 2. Vargas racing around second, heading for third, and he'll make it in there without a throw. It's a triple, and it's 8-0 Nationals.
No. I mean, all my stuff just sucked. I mean, it's really what it comes down to.
You're tuned into KNBR Tonight with your host who wore the orange and black, FP Santangelo. Got Google Nest? If so, listen to the sports leader at home. This is KNBR 104.5 and 680. Listen to the sports leader at home.
That was Sean Manaea after the game, being super accountable, and you got to like that. KNBR Tonight is sponsored by Redwood Credit Union. Start earning cash back on your everyday spending with a Redwood Credit Union free checking account. There's no monthly payments, no minimum balance, and your debit card earns cash back, travel, and more. Get started at redwoodcu.org/free checking, federally insured by NCUA. I think that's North Carolina University at Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's go back to the phones. Giants lose another one today to the Washington Nationals. They are currently 16-26 games back in the National League West, 1 game out of last place on May 10th. Does that concern you? We're going to do some more segments on the Giants, then we're going to transition to the Warriors here as the game gets going. But I felt like we'll start with this. I figured there'd be some frustrated Giants fans today because I always gauge it on how I'm feeling as a Giants fan. And, I've been a Giants fan longer than I've been working in broadcasting or coaching for the ball club or now on KNBR. So I just gauge it by how I'm feeling. I was kind of frustrated today. I thought Sean Manaea stayed in a little bit too long. I thought he was struggling early and it was apparent. And maybe his manager was showing confidence in him. Maybe he'll work through it. But I feel like in a rubber match, when you're trying to take 2 out of 3 going into a big series against the Diamondbacks, today was important. I know we're all still giddy about Casey Schmidt last night, but I felt like today was a very important game. And before he could blink an eye, it was 8-0, and that game was over. And I know that happens, and it happened quick. And sometimes as a manager, you're like, but that one was tough for me today. So I don't know how you guys are feeling. Let's go to Andrew in Tennessee. Andrew, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
How you doing, man? Thanks for calling.
Doing well. I didn't get to watch the game today, but by the time I looked at the score, it was the 4th inning, so I was kind of like, okay, all right, so what's going on? Game last night, I watched the last 2 games for Monday and Tuesday, every pitch, and like you said, last night was exciting, and, you see Schmidt come up and, do some things, like you said, to ignite the team. Kind of what I want to talk about, though, is, how the season, I called a couple weeks ago about how the season was going and just kind of seeing how, we can score runs or, and then the pitching comes in, the bullpen looks a lot better. But realistically, for the way that the year is going, and like you said, we've seen a lot of good things from a lot of good players. We don't have anybody locked down. Technically, do we have anybody locked down besides Webb past 2026 at this point? I don't think so. So, with the players that are playing really well right now, and again, the core team that we got going on, I mean, Estrada, Wade, and J.D. Davis especially, you got the infield locked down. These guys, and Camille Duvall too. These are pieces right there that I don't want to see go anywhere. As a Giants fan at this year and this point, again, if we can lock these guys down this year, kind of what they did with Webb, and say, hey, we're going to spend money, again, maybe whatever. I can't give you a number. But at least have that core group, and they know they're going to play every day. They know they're going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, or whatever it may be. But you have these players locked down where we still have players like Conforno and Hinder and trying to get back. And then when we got these rookies coming up, well, if you have that core group like we always used to have, knowing that they're going to play every day, knowing that they're going to be and where they're going to be. And like Duvall, I don't want to see Duvall go anywhere, but do you not look at them as all trade pieces right now if the Giants keep on the way that they're doing?
No, I like your take. I'd lock up Tyro for a while if I could. I'd lock up Duvall for a while if I could too. I think Tyro's an all-star, and I said that in spring training that he has a chance to be an all-star. He's that good. I just love the way he goes about it every day. He's their best player, easily. I mean, he steals bases. He hits for power. He plays good defense now wherever you put him. Maybe that wasn't the case early last season. He's improved tremendously on defense. And then Camilo, if he can figure out the darn pitch clock, is one of the elite closers in baseball, in my opinion. He's as good as it gets, period. End of story. He's just kind of like a Ferrari out there. You know what I mean? He's kind of you got to be careful with it. You know, you can't tinker with it. You just got to let him pitch, and you know what I mean.
Right, and kind of like, okay, so looking at what Bochy's doing in Texas, again, they're letting these guys play. They're letting them be, they had players, and when he went in there, they had players, but he knows where to put them. He knows what innings to put them in. He knows, and I see Kapler trying to do the same thing again, but platooning these guys every day and like you not know where you're going to be in the lineup type of deal. Like again, that's the thing again. If Wade again, one of the best on getting balls, strikes, whatever, getting on base. Put him 1 and then Estrada 2 and Davis 3. I mean, if we can't do something with that, the season's looking pretty bleak. Where you got these other guys coming up and it looks good, but again where my favorite, and like you said, Estrada will be my favorite player right now because I don't have a favorite player because again I want to see who can do at this time of the year. But you guys were always the fire hydrants were always my favorite. And Bernard, you, Rios, everyone was you guys because you guys went out there. You had this look on your face, like, "Hey, I'm still having fun, but we're here to get the job done."
No, I mean, there's not a lot of fist pumping in emotion outwardly with this team. It doesn't mean that inside they're not churning and trying hard, but like fans gravitate toward a fist pump or somebody diving and getting dirty and going nuts. Or even, the other way with an umpire or something. Like, fans love to see guys that love to play the game. They love emotion. And every team needs a couple of those guys. For lack of a better word, the D word. I mean, you need a couple of those guys that are jerks, I guess, for radio.
Not jerks. Again, they set the tone, and guess what? If you set one of these guys off, and hopefully it sets the whole team off, and then you see, the wave of emotions. And we've rid. How many rides have we ridden, seen, again, 107 wins. And like you said, those guys weren't going out there. They weren't being flashy. They had a job to do, and they knew what their role was. And when they got a hit, they went up there or got a home run. It's not like nowadays when, you're trying to get acknowledged. I forget who it was yesterday, trying to acknowledge, I think it was J.D. Davis, like, "Oh, you got on base," and they're like, and he's like, "No, I got a hit. Like, I'm on base. Let's go. It's time to go."
All right, Andrew, thanks for the call, dude. I got to bounce. We're up against the clock, but I appreciate your contribution to the show tonight. Good stuff, as always, from Tennessee. Let's go to Jason in Manteca. Jason, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
What's going on, FB?
What's up, bruh?
Hey, last time I called, you told me I contributed nothing to the show, man.
Well, then step it up, dude. Let's go.
Right. Well, I'm trying.
You're getting a second chance.
Here's where. All right. I'm trying to knock it out the park right now.
All right, go.
All right. So, do you think there's some value in going ahead and letting playing the kids, writing the season off? And I know it's early. I'm not saying do it now, but playing the kids, getting the rookies up, and just letting them to develop in the big leagues, right? So. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm watching them put Volpe in, Cabrera in, Peraza in. We got some, young pitchers in. And I'm not saying the Yankees are doing it to the full extent, but what do you think about just bring the kids up, let them develop, and let's build that new core?
It doesn't mean you're writing off the season if you do that. You could do both. You can bring them up and win. And sometimes it injects energy into your lineup. So just by bringing kids up to play and you bring a lot of them up doesn't mean you're waving the white flag at all.
No, I totally agree. But I think that a lot of times it's viewed that way, right? Like even putting Volpe in, like with the Yankees, putting Volpe in at shortstop.
No, he's a top prospect in baseball, dude. That's an upgrade for them at that position. They're trying to make themselves better. That's not just, he's developing and let's see how it goes. That kid can play, and he's one of their top prospects.
Right, but like what I'm saying is I like what the Yankees are doing with that. I like what the Giants are doing with Schmidt. Like let's take Harrison, for example. Do you go ahead and bring him up?
I'm down now.
Let him struggle.
I'm down now.
Let him struggle, right? Let him go 0 for 4, 0 for 5, but get the pitches in, get the innings in, and see what he can actually be, right? Because right now, with the Giants, there isn't a core, like that guy a minute ago was just saying. There isn't a core, I don't feel like there is, of young talent that is going to come up and change the game unless you let them do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between just throwing a kid in the big leagues that isn't ready and watching him learn up here, because you can't learn at this level. You have to be ready for this level. And if you're ready for this level, then fine. But if you're not ready for this level, you can't call somebody up and say, like Blake Sable, and learning to catch at this level. That's hard. So they're kind of sporadically working him in now to watch him develop at that position. You have to be ready. You have to be better than AAA and ready for this level to contribute at this level. So it's not like, oh, just throw a kid up here just because he's a kid and let him learn up. It's the toughest place in the world to learn at the major league level. You have to be ready. Casey Schmidt is ready. He showed that he was better than AAA. Blake Sable was a Rule 5 pick that had a great season last year and hit 25 home runs. He showed that he's ready. So I understand your point, but there has to be pieces of that puzzle, and it's a case-by-case basis. It's an individual thing, and you have to show that you've graduated, so to speak, from the minor league level in order to be able to get that experience at the big league level. This is an instructional league. It's not where everybody plays league. It's not a tri-league. It's a do league. So I know what you're saying in theory. There's certain guys, I really like Brett Wisely a lot. I think he's going to be a really good big leaguer. Remember, I said that. I think Casey Schmidt's going to be a really good big leaguer and win multiple Gold Gloves. But, you can't just throw guys up here that aren't ready to be up here, or else it's going to be a disaster. And you're going to be like, what the hell are we doing? Jason, I got to run. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Arthur. And you did add something to the show. Thank you. Let's go to Arthur in Palo Alto. Arthur, you're on KNBR. What's up?
Hey, FD. Thanks for taking my call. Longtime Giants fan here. I just wanted to say that seeing Casey Schmidt come up has recalibrated my experience and expectation as a Giants fan. So, like, at the beginning of the season, I was with most of the other fans where we thought, oh, this is rock bottom. They're never going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a best of 500 team, and this team's going nowhere. But seeing Casey Schmidt come up and the excitement around that and how fun that was to watch him, it made me think, well, maybe it's not necessarily about them making the playoffs. Like, that's not how to judge whether a season is successful. Maybe it's really about, to sort of piggyback on what the last caller was saying, if the Giants can launch at least 2 or 3 of their prospects this year and turn them into solid players that we love watching, like, even if they finish, next to last place and below 500, like, I consider that a successful season. If they can home grow a couple of players that we really want to go to the ballpark to see, that's a successful season. Like, I hadn't been planning on going any games this week, but then when I saw Casey Schmidt was making his debut, I bought a ticket. And, like, I loved that game. And I came home from that game just, really excited. And today's game, I watched it on TV, and even though it's a blowout, I stayed and watched the whole game because I wanted to see Casey Schmidt at bat.
Same.
Like, that's an experience I haven't, had as a Giants fan for a while. So, like, I'm not even judging whether they win or lose the game anymore. I just want to see these, get attached to these new players and see if they can, launch some homegrown players. So I just wanted to, make that comment that I've recalibrated, how I experience Giants games now. After seeing, the possibilities that are there with them bringing up some of these big prospects.
Well, that's cool, Arthur, but I like winning, man. I like winning more than anything. So I do like Casey, and I know what you're saying. I agree with you 100%, but you can do both. You can call up kids and win, too, at the same time. And here's the bottom line. It's the entertainment business. These guys are in the entertainment industry. Felipe Alou gave us a speech out of the All-Star break once in the clubhouse at Shea Stadium that I'll never forget. And he said, you guys are in the entertainment business. We're not very entertaining. People are paying good, hard-earned money to watch us play Major League Baseball. And this isn't entertaining. You guys need to go out there and think about that during the game and entertain the fans. And I guess the question I'd ask a lot of Giants fans, and I had this talk with a longtime season ticket holder, and he brought up this point that, it's not entertaining to him right now. To him, that was his personal opinion, and he voiced that to me today. Arthur, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Good stuff from Arthur in Palo Alto, who's shifted the way he looks at things. Yeah, I went out and led off the game with a home run, and I came back in the dugout. I was high-fiving people. I was singing "That's Entertainment" as I was high-fiving. That's entertainment. Yeah. Are you not entertained? As I was going through the dugout. All right, Matt Kolsky's going to join us right before the Warriors game. He's going to get us all set for Warriors, Lakers, right down the street here at Chase. He's going to be here from, whenever the game's over till, I think he's spending the night here. and he's just going to take your calls at 808 KNBR till 4 in the morning. But he's coming up next. Matt Kolsky at the Sports Leader.
It's the reminder that one game changes everything. I mean, it really does. And all you have to do is focus on the game and, do your job, go out there, let it rip. If you're, if you play well enough and you get a win, the whole vibe of the series changes.
Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
That was Steve Kerr talking about the series that's about to get underway, Game 5 from Chase. And I agree with everything Steve Kerr said right there. I disagree with everything our first guest has to say all the time, but he's going to join us anyways and talk some Warriors basketball. No, he's a great guy. We're lucky to have him on tonight because he's forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know. Matt Kolsky joins the show. What's up, Matt? How you doing?
What's happening, FP? How you doing, man?
You sound good. You sound like you're on the line. You're right here. That's awesome. How's everything going, dude? How have you been? How's the family doing?
Everyone's good. Everyone's good. I now, well, in like, what? It's 6:50. If we do it just by date, in 5 hours and 11 minutes, I will have a 2 and a 4-year-old.
Wow. All right.
So it's mayhem around here, as you might imagine.
Plus Game 5 on top of it. You're going to be with us tonight right after the game to break down the game. You're going to be taking calls all the way up till midnight, so thanks for that. How are you seeing this playing out? Is there a chance? I mean, you were the one when we did shows together that said these guys can flip a switch. They have the resume, and I've come on publicly and said I was wrong about that, and I even mentioned you, like he knows basketball. He said they could do this, and it seems like they have, but now all of a sudden, a couple shots didn't go. They're down 3-1. They're home. Is there a way for them to win 3 in a row and get to the finals, the Western Conference Finals?
Definitely there's a way. I don't know that I would predict that. I definitely think they will win tonight, and that is where it starts. I just have too much faith in the championship medal of this team to think that they would go out with a whimper in this way. And to your point, it was Game 4 on Monday felt won to me and then they kind of kicked it away. And it wasn't the backups or the rookies or any of the other people who kicked it away. It was Stephen Curry. It was Wardell, Draymond, and Clay. Like, they each made bad plays in the last 3 minutes that led to a loss. So I can't see that happening again. I think you get the Warriors' absolute best effort tonight. I think even though the Lakers are professionals, it is hard to get up for a game like this in the same way that the home team does. So I feel very good about tonight. And after that, it's funny. I was going to say, coming on to an extent, like, I also think you were right, which is there's a flip. There's a flipping of a switch to some extent that we have seen, undoubtedly. I mean, if you look at just Game 7 against Sacramento, but also they have in some ways continued to be the inconsistent team that we saw throughout the regular season, and I think that's how you get a loss in Game 4. So I don't have the same trust that I had in this team a year ago, but it is. I don't know. Like, I'm predicting that they will win tonight, right? And when we get to Game 6 and we're getting into it and I'm just processing it in my brain, it's hard for me not to think that I will again say, I just can't see Steph, Clay, and Draymond going out like this. So I don't know when the flip is going to switch in my brain that I start not believing in them. But there is something about them that makes me certainly believe for tonight.
So, I mean, there's been an undercurrent here, an untold story, a vibe, whatever you want to call it. It started with a punch, and just something's been off all season. I can't put a finger on it. And right now, Jordan Poole, I mean, he isn't even playing. He's been out of control all year. He's been turnovers at the wrong time. He's been missing shots. He's been maddening to me as a fan. I've been pulling my hair out watching this guy. And Matt, talking to Matt Kolsky right now, he's going to be on after the game. He was my favorite player last year during their whole championship run, and he's really regressed. And I don't want to say it was the punch, but there's something going on right here. And I have this article. I'm sure you saw it. An anonymous NBA executive says Jordan Poole's contract is empty calories. He doesn't defend. He doesn't really create for others. And that Draymond sucker punch incident wasn't a great look for him either, or either of them, I should say. The intel on Poole and his presence in the locker room isn't great. I don't know why the Warriors rushed to overpay him. They could have given him the same money this summer. At least then they know what his contract would mean to their situation. He's earning more than Wiggins, and Wiggins is way more valuable than Poole.
I mean, it's hard to disagree with much of that, other than I would say, like, the notion that he is a locker room problem is not something that's really been part of the story until very, very recently. And, like, I am not defending Jordan Poole. I'm not defending Jordan Poole saying, certainly on Monday, like, that it's a problem of opportunity. Because, like you said, we all have eyes. And they couldn't play him any more than they did on Monday because he was so bad. He couldn't hit a thing, and he was turning the ball over. And to the anonymous executive's point, he's not helping you on defense, that's for sure. All of that said, he is a 23-year-old who has shown the ability to be an absolutely electric scorer. And although I am with you, he was maddening this year, it's not as though he was this bad all year, right? Like, we saw moments of brilliance even this weird season from Jordan Poole. And I think it would be fair to give him a little bit of a break based on the fact that he got his face punched in right before the season started by the emotional leader of his own team. Again, not a defense. I'm just saying I get what that executive is saying. Certainly some executives will see it that way. But if watching sports over the years, I have learned anything, it is that there will also be a handful of executives that talk themselves into think of how good we'd be if with Jordan Poole. So if the implication is he'd be impossible to move, I don't really think that's true. I get it. I get why some people wouldn't want him, but he's 23 years old and there's a lot of good basketball in front of him. So I don't, as crazy as it sounds, I don't think his massive money is that hard to move. The cap is always going up, and people are willing to take a risk on talent.
So the Warriors, to me, are basically playing with 5 players: Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, and Moody. Green, he had Draymond had some costly turnovers last game, but Steph's been a one-man show. I mean, he scored or assisted on 60% of their points last game. So the Warriors win tonight and win the series if ... what?
Well, the biggest things all year long, and I would say even now against a different matchup than they've really seen all year, is turnovers and bad fouls. Bad turnovers, bad fouls. If the Warriors can play, obviously if they play mistake-free basketball, they'll be in good shape. But if they can just keep turnovers and bad fouls down, those are 2 things that are particularly damaging against this Lakers team. And they are the 2 things that have bit the Warriors all season long. Just when you think they're putting it together, this is where they're going to get the run going, they're going to win 8-9 games in a row, they would have a stinker where it was turnovers and bad fouls that caused it. That is harder to do in LA, especially the bad fouls part, because it's not always on them. But those are the 2 biggest things. That being said, I think there's an argument for it. The Warriors will win this series if the Jordan Poole from last year's playoffs shows up. And I guess there's really no reason to expect that all of a sudden, but if he's ever going to... I don't want to be too dismissive, because I do think it's been a tough year on him, in part for things that are not his fault. But at a certain point, you're going to have to take responsibility as a professional basketball player.
Dude, it's his fault when he drives to the basket out of control and turns the ball over. It's his fault when he takes a 60-footer. Like, these are all his fault. It's not anybody else's fault that he's playing out of control. And unless he just got his brain dinged up by a right hook, then okay. I mean,
right, and I mean, while the punch was clearly a damaging incident for the makeup of the team, I do not think it permanently scrambled Jordan Poole's brains.
Okay, well then it's not his fault. But other than that, his accountability is he's out of control and he stinks. And I can't say it any better. And I'm frustrated, Matt, because this was my guy. He went to Michigan. Yep. My mom went to Michigan. I loved him last year, and I used to come on the show and say he's my favorite Warrior, and including Steph, and I just love the way he plays, and he had so much swagger and confidence. He was pulling up for 35-footers and draining them. He was under control, and now I'm sorry, I'm getting negative, and we're talking about the bad things about the Warriors. I'll stop, but I need to vent, because I did this with my son the other day, and he's like, Dad, I've never heard you talk about a player like this. You usually love everybody. I'm like, he's frustrating.
Well, he really has been, and especially because, and you've said it a couple times, you're absolutely right, and especially thinking back to this time of year last season when, look, it wasn't all roses in the playoffs, but in the second and third round, Jordan Poole was electrifying us. It was in many ways Jordan Poole's sort of ascendance was the thing that got the Warriors to the finals when a lot of people didn't expect them to get that far. So, it's in there. And that makes it all the more frustrating when he not only isn't playing his best. In fact, I think he's clearly playing his worst. I mean, he looks like he looked when he was a rookie, when everything seemed like it was too much for him and he was utterly out of control all the time and never got any results. And it's always a fine line with that sort of player. You don't want to take away his confidence. You don't want to take away some of that spontaneity, but there has to be some control. And you're absolutely right. That is on him, end of the day.
All right, dude, we got a break. We're at the top of the hour. I can't wait for you. You're coming on right after the game, right?
Final buzzer, and then I dial up. That's how it's going to go.
Good, and we'll take calls. If you're driving to the game and you're a little bit late right now, obviously, we'll be here to take your calls all the way up until midnight. Matt will take over. He's going to be here from 10 to midnight, 808 KNBR. If you're stuck in traffic after the game, give us a call. Matt, thanks for the preview, man. I look forward to catching up with you in a couple hours here.
Talk to you later.
All right, that's Matt Kulski. He's going to join us after and talk some Dubs basketball. Hopefully they win this thing and send it back to Los Angeles. In the meantime, we're going to still do some Warriors pregame. We have Greg Beacham coming on. He covers the Lakers for the Associated Press. So stick with us through the commercial break. On the other side, Greg Beacham on The Sports Leader.
This is Giants baseball. Nothing like it.
High drive to left. Gone!
On KNBR and KNBR FM, San Francisco, a Cumulus media station. Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
Dude, I swear to God, I didn't know this was a trending. We're so piling on right now. Marcus Thompson joins Murph and Mac to break down Jordan Poole's issues in the postseason. Yeah, it's not funny, FP, and what the Warriors should do. That podcast and much more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app.
KNBR in your pad on your Apple HomePod. KNBR Tonight with former Giant FP Santangelo. Now continues on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, my next guest, Greg Beecham. He covers the Lakers for the Associated Press, but he also covers the Rams. We had him on during the football season. He covers the Angels. He was at the game today. The Angels lose a tough one, 5-4 to the Astros, but future Giant Shohei Ohtani hit a 2-run home run in the ninth inning. So how's our guy looking?
We're keeping him warm for you, FP. Don't worry. He didn't look great the first 3 at-bats, but then he came through at the end. So it'll look really good sailing into the fog there in about a year. It'll be great.
That's what I'm talking about. Good vibes. Ohtani into McCovey Cove, and by the end of it, they'll call it Ohtani Cove. Who knows how this whole thing's going to go? I saw something this week where he's going to command a $540 or $50 million contract.
I think that's quite possible. Yeah, I mean, you look at what he's worth. You're getting 2 All-Star players. That's why I voted for him as the AL MVP last year. I was one of 2 guys who had him first. I just think a guy who plays 2 positions at an All-Star level is inherently more valuable than one guy. That's the math that adds up for me. I mean, I see no argument either way, and he absolutely should get a contract that big. The question is the term. The question is how many opt-outs he has, all those kinds of things. So we'll see what happens, but he is going to get paid.
Yeah, and I've been saying that too. He's 2 $30 million players, and I didn't think a $600 million contract was out of the question. If you go 10 years, he's that good. I don't know how long he's going to last as a pitcher. I think the longevity there is as a hitter and a home run hitter. So we'll see how that whole thing turns out. Giants got to win because I think Shohei wants to win, and I think that's going to be his first priority. Everybody pointing toward the Dodgers at this point in the whole thing. We'll see how it works out. All right, the big game tonight, it's Warriors-Lakers. The Warriors are down 3-1. Greg, you know more about basketball than I do, so I'll defer to you. You cover it. Is the Warriors' reign done? Is the dynasty over? What do you think?
Oh, no, I don't think they're done yet. I think this will be an interesting game. I have a feeling I'll be going to work Friday night in downtown L.A. because I just can't bet against Steph on his home court in a big game. I mean, you know, it's a fundamentally dumb idea to think Steph's not going to get things done when he's going to get them done, but it has been a really challenging series for him in terms of what he can do and what the Lakers have allowed him to do, all those kinds of things. The Lakers have been the better team for the majority of this series, really, but that entitles you to nothing tonight. And the Warriors have shown they can beat the Lakers handily if they focus on their strengths, make the adjustments that are important, and if Steph shoots well. You know, it's going to come down to Steph on one end, Anthony Davis playing defense against the Warriors. Those are the 2 main factors to me, and whoever executes better, whether Steph can hit the shots that he missed in Game 4, that's what it's going to come down to. And I don't bet against Steph at this point in his career.
Yeah, I don't either, man. He's putting them on their back. AD did a nice job down the stretch covering Steph in the fourth quarter. But do you think he can do it all by himself? He needs a little help from his friends, doesn't he?
He does. You know, the supporting cast is the thing that's really curious for me because I don't see every Warriors game. I see every Lakers game, but I don't see everything that happens. And every time I check in, it seems like there's another guy who's not doing what they expected him to do. Whether it's Clay having a quiet game in Game 4, whether it's Jordan Poole kind of disappearing. You know, and I just seeing it as somebody who checks in and out, I'm like, man, they're not getting the consistency they need, the consistency that they used to get at this position. And then even Steph, you know, he did not shoot that great in Game 4. And if he hits a few of those shots, they're coming home tied 2-2. They're playing tonight, you know, for a 3-2 series lead. It comes down to whether Steph hits the shots that he gets and whether Anthony Davis is as effective as he needs to be on both ends of the court. Those 2 guys decide the series. And so far, AD's had the upper hand so far.
Yeah, and LeBron knows this thing isn't over. He's won too many championships, and he has too much resume to know that, and I'm sure he'll make his teammates aware. I mean, when you talk about the Warriors, though, it's been basically 5 players. It's been Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, and Moody. It's just been a weird series in that regard. So do you think they could do it with just these 5 guys? I mean, there's been costly turnovers by Draymond. It just doesn't seem – here's the stat, and you probably know this, so I'm preaching to the choir. Steph Curry's been a one-man show. 60% of the Warriors' points were either assisted or scored by Steph Curry on Monday.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's hard for me to process the fact that the Lakers are a deeper team than the Warriors at this point, just because it's been the opposite for so long. The Lakers' depth is just a marvel considering how much time over the last 3 seasons they've spent with nobody who stepped up when AD or LeBron was injured. The Russell Westbrook fiasco, all that kind of stuff. When they needed somebody else to contribute, they didn't have it. And now it feels like the Warriors are in kind of the same spot. I mean, those 5 guys are contributing, but it's so much Steph's team. Everything depends on him for so much. It's just crazy. Whereas the Lakers, different guys have stepped up repeatedly down the stretch, whether it's Austin Reeves coming out of nowhere to become a starter. You know, D'Angelo's gone off offensively, although he's still quite inconsistent, but he's capable of dropping 30 whenever he wants. Rui Hachimura stepped up against Memphis in the first round out of nowhere. I mean, he'd been a good, solid role player, but then all of a sudden he's scoring 25 points. And now Lonnie Walker, the last couple of games, did not lose any confidence somehow after losing his starting job with the Lakers and getting thrown down the bench. In fact, he was able to spend 6 weeks on the shelf and then step into this series as a scorer in clutch playoff situations is just crazy, considering he's only been in the playoffs one previous time in his career, and that was like 5 years ago as a rookie. It's just amazing the depth and the fact that the dynamic in this series has just flipped on its head, where the Warriors had the depth. The Warriors had, the championship experience, the pedigree, and now the Lakers are looking like the team that has the bigger well they can go to, the bit more tricks in their bag. It's just crazy to me.
Talking to Greg Beacham, he covers the Lakers for the Associated Press. Nice enough to join us here on KNBR tonight. Yeah, Greg, I was saying before the last game that you got to stop Lonnie Walker in the fourth quarter, and that's the main thing. And if the Warriors stop Lonnie Walker in the fourth quarter, they'll win this game. And they just did listen. Nobody at all even talked about Lonnie Walker being a factor. Should the Warriors be worried about him in Game 5?
I have no idea what to say at this point because he wasn't a factor until 2 games ago. It's like we knew he could score. Like, he was a good scorer. He was the third leading scorer on this team when he got hurt in the middle of the season. But then when they came back, he had lost his job through the acquisitions at the trade deadline. They added Jared Vanderbilt. They added Malik Beasley. They didn't need him on the floor as much. They were vibing really well with the new guys, and so he went on the shelf. And that's like a recipe for just sulking, being mad. A guy loses his starting job. Instead, he just took it easy. He took it in stride. He was a good teammate. He's like a cheerleader on the bench. And then when he gets called on to play, he plays like that. It's just incredible. I think he could do it again. I think they could also, you plug in somebody else. If they want more outside shooting, or more three-point shooting, they could plug in Malik Beasley, who's in a similar situation now where he lost his starting job to Austin Reeves, and he's been coming off the bench or not at all. They just have so many options in terms of guys who can come in and change a game if they're hitting their shots. And it's just not a position the Lakers have been in very much for the last 3 years in addition. So, it could be Lonnie, could be Rui Hachimura again. They got Dennis Schroeder, who is just an incredible talent and really exciting to watch and plays his heart out against Steph and doesn't always make the right play and makes a lot of turnovers, but he's also just an exciting player to watch. It could be any one of those guys, and that's what's exciting about the Lakers this year.
Yeah, I think you probably touched on some of the reasons, but can you talk about the turnaround for the Lakers, a team that barely made the playoffs, and now they're one game away from the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, you have to give a lot of credit to Darvin Ham. He's been judged a lot in terms of what he's been able to do as a first-year head coach, and that's really tough anyway, coming into a situation with 2 established stars and being asked to take over the locker room, and then turning over about 40% of your roster at the trade deadline. They added 5 guys, 4 who were contributing extensively, and they dropped a bunch of guys who were contributing to the team at the time. And the fact that he's been able to smooth over all of that, fix the egos, fix the playing time, convince guys who were playing that are now not playing that they need to stay ready. And it's been incredible in terms of the way he's managed that locker room. You don't hear any dissent. You don't hear any bad spirits, and that's hardly ever the case on the Lakers. It's a very difficult place to play. There's a big spotlight on you, and you've got a bunch of guys in your ear telling you, you should be this, you should be that. But this team has a fundamentally strong leadership structure with Darvin in front, and then LeBron in the locker room. You can't get up that much around LeBron, and they've managed to get in this position where they've got just a great team. It's a teamwork team. And it's worked out really well. And it's impressive. And I have to give the credit to Darvin because that's definitely what LeBron and AD would do.
I was going to say maybe LeBron and then Darvin, but who knows how that whole thing goes.
Yeah, well, yes, sir, that's possibility too, yeah.
But here's the thing, Greg. Like, as a former athlete, I'm hearing the things you're saying about the Lakers, and I'm not seeing those things with the Warriors. Something's been amiss since day one, since the punch. There's been something missing. There's been something oddly off with this team. And we haven't heard things like team and chemistry and all those things you're saying right now about the Lakers. Around these parts, something's been off all season long.
I think you're absolutely right. And as a NorCal guy myself, it's really weird that the Lakers are more likable than the Warriors in terms of like personalities and teamwork and all the rah-rah stuff that you tend to like as a sports fan. It's a really strange position for both these franchises to find themselves in. But I can speak more to the Lakers side than the Warriors side because I see what you're saying with the Warriors, and I definitely see it on the floor, and we see it in the way they've played over and over during the week. During the weeks of the season. But the Lakers, they've just figured out everything so well since the trade deadline and put guys in position to succeed. They're 26-11 since the trade deadline. I believe the number is something like that. Insane, crazy number like that. They're 16-5 since they lost on St. Patrick's Day on a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and it just felt like a really down loss that they might not recover from. They've just kept rolling. They've kept getting better. I mean, the number one thing is that Anthony Davis is healthy. That's been the biggest problem with the Lakers in the previous 2 seasons is that LeBron and Anthony Davis once played together and they won a championship, and then they didn't play together for 2 years. They're back together. They're both healthy. They have the best supporting cast they've had around them since the championship season, and it's all coming together. Having said that, the Golden State Warriors have Stephen Curry.
Yes, talking to Greg Beecham, covers the Lakers for the Associated Press, and that's where I was going with the last question. Warriors come back and win this series. How?
Steph. I think Steph can do it. I mean, I just think that he can do things that the Lakers can't easily counter in terms of on the perimeter, in terms of ball movement, in terms of initiation, in terms of pick and roll. If I were Steve Kerr, I'd have Steph Curry running 150 pick and rolls tonight. I'd have him get on the floor, get whoever Anthony Davis is guarding, I'd bring him up and run Steph off the pick and let Steph create the offense every single play. Get Anthony Davis out from under the basket, get him in positions in space where he's less effective. He's still effective, but he's less effective, and then give Steph the chance to move the ball to guys who are spotting up for threes. There's no answer for that for anybody, let alone the Lakers. Lakers are a very good defensive team, but if the Warriors play to their strengths, and if Steph is hitting his shots, which he wasn't in Game 4, I think they can do anything. They win tonight at home. That's not going to be a surprise to me if they win at home. I just think the Lakers had a chance to close out the Grizzlies in Game 5, and they couldn't do that. So losing at home tonight is not a surprise. You bring the Lakers home with all the pressure in the world on them, all the celebrities in the stands, the sellout crowd going crazy with every ball, hoping they're going to make the conference finals. And nobody cuts the heart out of a visiting crowd like Steph Curry. And so once you can get to Game 7, anything can happen. So they can definitely win this series. It's going to take another chapter in the legend of Steph Curry to make it happen.
Well, what a front-runner town, though, man. Seriously. I mean, when I was with the Dodgers, it's so funny. It's like all of a sudden we're winning a little bit. We win 5 in a row, and now all of a sudden celebrities are rolling through the clubhouse with brand-new Dodger hats on. The Dodgers win the World Series, and he's, I didn't know that actor, that A-lister was a Dodger fan. I didn't know that. And now with the Lakers, they're playing well all of a sudden, and you're looking at the A-listers that are at the games. It's such a front-runner town, man. I know there's lots going on there, and there's lots of distractions, and we always used to joke as players in the dugout that, if Spielberg's not blowing things up in center field, no one's going to come watch the game because that's what this town's used to. But, man, what a front-runner town. I mean, everybody loves a winner in every town, but, I feel like L.A. is, the epitome of front-runners.
I think about it as the rich people come out when you start winning. I remember when the Warriors started winning, a lot of tech bros suddenly had seats that used to be held by heart and soul Oakland people like myself. And then, in LA, a lot of the rich people are Hollywood people. And so they get noticed a lot more on TV because they're famous. So that's what it seems like to me. But definitely LA loves a winner. That's for sure.
Oh, dude, there's tech bros here going to Warriors games, driving in their Lamborghinis, and they used to get stuffed in lockers in high school. So, yeah, I can't get that.
But I'm telling you, man, they're just not famous. That's the difference.
All right, Greg, thanks for your time today. We'll check out the game together, but I appreciate you carving out time, especially after covering Shohei Ohtani, Forever Giant, before you came on with me.
My pleasure, FP. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's a good dude right there. Yeah, if you're a tech bro, give me a call, 808 KNBR. If you want something, you want a piece of me? We're just having fun. All right, we're going to give you an update. It's 17-5 Warriors in the third inning. That is 17-5 Warriors. Or I guess that's a football score with the safety. So the Warriors have run away with this one. It's over. A final from Chase. Warriors 17, Lakers 5. What? That's all the Lakers could do is score 5 points all night. I'll give you updates. I don't care. If you're driving around, it's because you like me. You really, really like me. You're listening right now. So I got a story for you about a baseball player that wouldn't stay in his team hotel with the rest of his ball club. I'm going to tell you why next on the Sports Leader.
Santangelo on the Sports Leader.
I think I just saw 21-16 Warriors as they go to commercial break. 808 KNBR, if you want to chime in on anything sports, anything related to anything. You just want to talk to somebody, you're lonely, you want some free counseling, some free therapy, I got you. Really, I'm good at this stuff. Just call me. I'm here. Did you hear about Mookie Betts? So there's this hotel in Milwaukee that's legendary. We've all stayed there. It's called the Pfister Hotel. Pfister for you sickos out there. It's the Pfister Hotel. And it's legendary in baseball as being a haunted hotel. There's been stories about players that the faucet has come on full bore at like 3 in the morning, the sink in the room. There's been other stories. Are you playing Scooby-Doo highlights over there? That was a Scooby-Doo. That was the bad guy in Scooby-Doo. He looked like a yeah, do you remember that guy? He looked like a tribesman, like a Zulu tribesman on Scooby-Doo. He was the bad guy. Then it was old Mr. Withers or something when they took off his mask. So back to the initial story on your ADD segment in the show. The Pfister Hotel has been, like, players have woke up in the middle of the night with the channels just scrolling as fast as they can. The TV pops on and the channel just starts scrolling. There's other stories about seeing apparitions in the hallway. So the story goes throughout the years that Mr. Pfister was having an affair with one of the maids. And then apparently Mrs. Pfister didn't like it. And I don't know how, or I'm probably screwing the story up, but apparently the maid was killed in the hotel. And I could fact check this, but I'm not going to. This is just how I remember the story being told to me, so if I'm wrong, I really don't care. But there's the actual room in the wing of the hotel where this woman was apparently murdered that was having an affair with Mr. Pfister. It's fun to say. Pfister, I hardly even knew her. Mr. Pfister, and that's where it's haunted. So players will tell you these stories, right? I think Pablo Sandoval back in the day, you guys probably remember this, refused to stay at this hotel. So Mookie Betts with the Dodgers, they just completed their series against the Brewers. Airbnb'd a place in Milwaukee and did not want to stay at the hotel. He said, screw that. He said he rented an Airbnb for some friends and is staying there just in case the stories about the ghosts are true. Said he really doesn't believe in ghosts, but doesn't want to find out he's wrong. So probably get a better night's sleep. I've stayed there, I want to say 40 times maybe. 40 different times for 3 to 4 days at a time. Maybe more than that if I really had to think about it back as a player and as a broadcaster. Nothing weird has ever happened. The one thing I did do, I'm a Halloween guy. You guys know that's my favorite holiday. One thing I did do was I downloaded a Ghost Finder app on my iPhone. On the bus from the airport. Every year I would download it. And it had like a radar on it. If you guys go on like the App Store, it has a little radar on it. And it has little red dots. And you just follow the red dots, and that's apparently where the ghost is. So one night, the hotel bar at the Pfister is great. And we were having a few drinks. I had some cocktails with friends that came up from the D.C. area. And we were 3 or 4 cocktails deep, and we decided to be ghost hunters. We were going to go be ghost busters in the hotel. So we were lubed up, we were oiled up, and I got my app out. We started walking around the hallways of the hotel, and there was like things all over the radar. And there was old paintings. You know those old paintings? Let me describe the hotel. It's like the top deck of the Titanic. Like it's all old and but luxurious with high ceilings and big pillars, almost like an old bank, if you will. And it's very nostalgic and has, I don't know, it's a very classy hotel, but it's old school classy. So we're walking around these hallways and there's pictures on the wall of these old people. And it's almost like those ones like in the Haunted Mansion where the eyes, what's the hotel here? There's a hotel on Gary Street. I'm drawing a blank on it. Did you go to the bar in the back and the eyes they follow you in the bar in the hotel? I'm drawing a blank on the hotel. Help me out on the text line if you're listening. But anyways, back to the story. We couldn't find one, but we had a damn good time finding it. So Mookie Betts decided he didn't want to stay at this hotel. Let's see what Mookie did today. Can we pull up the box scores and see if his good night's sleep helped not staying at the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee? The Giants go to Milwaukee at the end of the month, and I'm on that trip. I don't think they're staying at the Pfister. Dude, those are the worst scary sounds anyone's ever played in the history of radio behind me. It's awful. It's terrible. That's way better. That scared the S out of me just now. Literally. The Zulu warrior from Scooby-Doo does not scare me because I know it's Old Man Withers. It's always Old Man Withers. They rip off the mask. They're like, it's Old Man Withers. I watch every one of those. All right, I'm trying to find the Dodgers box score because I know you guys are enthralled by this story because it's amazing. I'm going to tell you right now. And everybody in town's listening to the show. If you're not, you're missing out. It's the most popular show in town. Just ask anyone, or at least me. All right, box score. Dodgers won 8-1. Mookie Betts went 0 for 4. I love Mookie Betts, by the way. I know I'm not supposed to love Dodgers. There's two Dodgers. Well, I love Trey Turner, but there's two Dodgers I can't help but hate, and it's the two top guys in their lineup. It's Betts and Freeman. I just love those guys. I think they're great baseball players. They're good for baseball. No, it's not the Savoy Hotel. Thanks on the text line. It's just past Mason on Gary. It's on the left side. It was the fancy hotel for a long time. It makes the fancy martinis. Been a great bar in the back. They have the big oversized chair right in the lobby when you walk in. I'll Google it and get that for you during the commercial break. Let's go to Betty. She's not scared of any ghosts. Betty from Benicia, you're on KNBR.
Well, hello. Listen. First of all, I love your sound effects. I crack up every time I hear it. Whoever does that, he makes me laugh.
It's Raph. He's the...
Well, anyway, the reason why I'm calling is I know you've already made up your mind about Poole, but he's not the only one that's doing bad on the team. I mean, if you watch the last game, we had Stephen making errors and Clay and Greenlawn and missing the baskets over and over and over again. And they're not bad players, are they? And
no, they're good players.
And Poole, he threw some and he missed some, but he's also been knocked down and everything else. But he also gets the ball to someone to get it in the basket, and they don't always get it in the basket. And he can't win the game by himself. It's a team effort, and that's where I am with him. It's not. If you've been watching him, well, no, you've already made up your mind. I
change my mind every minute, Betty. You could convince me. You're doing a good job. Keep going.
Okay.
I got to kill another hour. Just keep talking.
Well, anyway, so I just wanted to touch bases, but I got to go watch the game now.
All right, Betty, thanks for calling. It's always good to hear from Betty from Benicia talking about baseball, but tonight it's Warriors. Thanks, Betty.
Bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Let me go. Yeah, thanks for calling. She's a sweetheart. All my callers are sweethearts. Yeah, it's the Clift Hotel. Thanks, the 510 chiming in. The Clift, yes. They have the eyes on the paintings when you walk back in the back bar, and there's these big paintings, and they're yeah, dude, the one with the girl. Like, I got headphones on. I really thought there was someone behind me. Like, you scared the S out of me. The one that says I'm behind. Oh my God, I need that for Halloween, dude. That's so good. And I think sometimes there's voices in my head. Someone saying, now I want a fancy martini. Yeah, so they have this like cotton candy martini where they actually put the cotton candy in the martini. It's pretty cool. At least they did back in the day. I used to go there with Zito and Brian Wilson back in the day. That was our spot that we go to after Giants games. Don't tell anybody. I don't think the guys go there anymore. But it used to be the hip, fun hotel. It probably is. Let me see. Yes. Thanks 510, because that would have drove me nuts if I didn't remember that name. If you don't keep me updated on the game, I'm going to have to turn the dial. I got you. I got all your updates. 30-28 Warriors right now is the last I've heard. Let me refresh it on my computer. Yeah, 30-28. Dubs up by 2 with 49 seconds left in the first quarter. Matt Kolsky will be on after the game to break it down for you because it's hard for me to like do ghost stuff and ghost stories and break down a game. So it's cool that he's coming on. Did you guys hear what Skip Bayless said about the Warriors? Check this out. I clicked on this earlier today. Skip Bayless, here's his quotes. Speaking of problems brewing, I'm going to say this again about Golden State. He said this on Undisputed this morning after the Warriors 104-101 loss. They are defending champs. They are dynastic. Don't use words I don't know what they mean, Skip. That means they're kind of dynasty-like. Just say they're a dynasty, bro. They're dynastic. Like, dumb people like myself could mean like, oh, they have a Tyrannosaurus Rex on the team? Like, does that mean they have dinosaurs? They're dynastic, Uncle. I give you all that. I have nothing but the highest regard for what they have achieved over the past decade with that core players, Steph, Clay, Draymond, for a while, Kevin Durant. He goes on to say, stay with me here, something has been a foul this year. A foul ball down the left field line. A foul this year. Something has been off and missing the whole year. I don't disagree with that a bit. I agree with Skip Bayless on one thing finally. Like, he's right. There's been something a foul this year. Something has been off, a miss this whole year. It has. I think we all know that. We've been around teams that have won championships. You see the chemistry. You heard with Greg Beacham earlier. He was talking about the team that the Lakers are and how they're a team. Have we heard that about the Warriors this year? Have we heard this, like, they're such a close group? No, you had to talk them into getting on the bus. You're either in or you're in the way. You're either getting on this bus to go to Sacramento for Game 7 or we don't want you on the bus. For Steph Curry to have to do that, there's some big-time problems there for the Golden State Warriors behind closed doors. Like I've said all year, and you guys are sick of hearing it, no championship season ever started with a teammate punching another one in the history of sports. Maybe it happened during the season. Maybe they built up and like Reggie Jackson or Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds, whatever, because you're just on each other's nerves. But to start the season, no championship season ever started with guys duking it out. That's a crap way to start the year. Bayless goes on to say, and this is where I totally disagree, they may have to change voices going into next year. They may have to change Steve Kerr. What? That's just dumb. I would venture to say, based on all the stuff we know and all the stuff we don't know behind the scenes, that you could make the argument this is Steve Kerr's best job coaching ever. Anybody could drive a Cadillac. Anybody could drive a team that's 41-15 or whatever they've been at the All-Star break in the past. Like, that's the easy part. The hard part, coaching, is when you have these things, and I think there's a lot of issues behind the scenes with these guys that we don't know about. Whether it's Wiggins missing all this time for whatever, I don't think we still know the true Hollywood story on that one. Whether it's the punch, whether it's Steph throwing his mouthpiece because Jordan Poole took a shot from way downtown with 12 seconds left on the shot clock, whether it's a lot of things we haven't heard about, there's something missing from this team. Now, they could prove us all wrong. They could win tonight. They could go back to L.A. They could win and come back for Game 7. I think if they get to Game 7 and the Lakers win, it's a successful season. I'm sorry, based on everything they've been through. I'm good with this series going 7 games. I don't need another parade down Market Street. I don't. It just doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like we're going to see another trophy, another ring, another parade. It doesn't. There's just too many weird things going on. And usually when you get to this stage in the postseason or the playoffs with a football team, with a baseball team, with a basketball team, you're feeling that thing, right? Maybe the NBA is a little bit different, but you're usually feeling that thing, whatever that thing is, whether it was Fear the Beard, whether it's Jock Peterson wearing pearls in Atlanta. There's always some thing going on where you can just see the vibe between the players. They play good sometimes. They play bad sometimes. They play great sometimes. They play horrible sometimes. That's what a 500 team does. That's what a team that plays 500 does. So I think we should all be thankful that we got to see a parade last year. We should all be thankful of the 4 championships these guys have given us. And I think Steve Kerr, and I'm going to make the argument, that's done his best job of coaching ever this year. To get them to where they're at tonight, watching the game, it's 32. Wait, hold on. I got to do an update or else I'm going to lose the listener. It's 32-31 Warriors. And now it's 34-32 Lakers, as I think that was LeBron busting a 3. So 34-32 Lakers with 10:55 to go in the second. All right, let me read some text messages before I get back to the phones. I appreciate your calls tonight. This is cool that we're getting calls on such a big Warriors game. Someone said, stop that. I don't know what you're referring to, 669. Is it the sound effects that Raph's playing with the girl? The one that's behind me right now in the studios? I mean, if she was 32 and hot, that would be cool if she said that. I mean, I'd be all for that. Not the wild Zulu tribesman from Scooby-Doo. All right, hold on. Stop saying we're not going to win. All right, you're right. Oh, that's what he's saying, the 669. I don't know that. I'm trying to kill time here. Sometimes words come out, man. 408, dang it. If people want to watch the game, they're not going to be listening to you. Don't ruin the score. Wait, I got one person telling me if I don't give updates, they're turning the channel. Another person says if I do updates. Well, I don't know what to do. Let's go to Tanner.
No.
Let's go to Tanner. If we still carry the games, it wouldn't be a problem. Let's go to Rosenbag. Sorry, Rosenbag, San Jose.
Whoa. You're just calling me out there, man.
Whatever. I think people know your voice by now.
Well, it's only because I call into you so much, man. I'm a known, well-known caller in the Bay Area. That's something to hang my hat on, right?
That is. Are you stalking all the radio shows? I get jealous, dude. I'm serious.
I've called into a couple, but it's nothing like this. I've never been like a person that calls in and like.
You're cheating on me, bro. You're cheating on me, man. I want loyalty. I want loyal listeners that listen every night and call just my show. Because guess what? Not too many shows take calls like I do. So, yeah, you could cheat on me, Rosen bag. I was gonna call you douchebag, but I'll give Rosen bag.
I heard it coming.
What do you got, bro?
I was going to talk about Jordan Poole and everything. I mean, he, like you said earlier, he's 23 years old. He has a championship underneath his belt. You can't just go and gain wisdom by being successful early. You know, he's going to have his lumps and everything else. And maybe he had a big lump from, Draymond. That's besides the point. But, I mean, he has to perform. He did well in game one. The last 3 games, he's kind of been non-existent, and I want to say he's almost had as many turnovers as he has either assists or even points made. Probably not points made, but it's I think it's like a collective effort to go and try to pick him up and try to set him right, because you need him for these elimination games. And he got a paycheck, which was great. It really affected the value of my Jordan Poole rookie cards, which I really love. But I'd love to see him take it and turn it into a positive. And that's what I think that, like, a lot of this stuff is the media, like, portraying this guy, oh, he's a cancer and blah, 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 blah. And it just seems like in any other, like, market, it's just like everybody wants to go and vilify the Warriors. And it's because they're so good, and I understand that, but he has to step up and show his mettle right here in this last game. And I think that he will, to be honest with you. He's had a track record of doing it. So in his very short tenure at
He's
the
also
Warriors,
had a track record of making mistakes and playing out of control, too. So I hope the guy you're talking about shows up tonight. It's 40-39 Dubs right now in the second quarter. Rosen. Thanks for calling, dude.
Rosenbag, yes, sir.
Mr. Rosen. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. 40-39 Dubs. 8:47 left in the second. Lots of text messages flying in. Mean Colleen, the bearded lady, says she needs updates and winning talk. Okay, I'll change my attitude, Colleen. Sorry. You shaved your playoff beard. Yeah, don't even ask me. Anyways. Hey, Santangelo, this is Duck Shack Jimbo from the 208 area code. I'm listening to you instead of watching the Warriors-Lakers game. For me, this is baseball season. Yeah, that way, Duck Shack Jimbo. That's a tough one to say. That's a tongue twister. I could get fired if I say that one 5 times fast. All right, time for me to take a commercial break, because I always know when I start getting short of breath that I'm talking too much. But, I'm a sports talk radio host. That's what I'm supposed to do. There's the Zulu tribesman, old Mr. Withers with a mask on. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. And Scrappy sometimes, and Daphne. Daphne she had the Coke bottle glasses, right? And she would always crawl on the ground looking for her glasses. She could never find her glasses. Like, Daphne, get some freaking contact lenses. Did they have contact lenses in 1973 when Scooby-Doo was out? Were they invented yet? Because Daphne was blind. Like, she couldn't see without her glasses, and they always fell off. And it was Velma? Wait, which one was Daphne? Was Daphne the good-looking one? Right, yeah, Velma then. Was it? Yeah, Velma was, she had, Velma Dinkley. I just Googled. Yeah, she could not see. She had Coke bottles. She was cute. She's super cute for a cartoon character. I don't know where I'm going. This is the worst show ever. All right, 43-42 Lakers. 45-42 Lakers. Dribble, 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 shoot. It's good. 45-42. I got your NBA play-by-play parody coming up next on the Sports Leader.
Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. Outstanding production right there. Remember they used to have this Saturday morning cartoon preview show the week before they all debuted? And you would sit around the TV and you'd be like, oh, what are the cartoon lineups this year? And Scooby-Doo was always my favorite. Scooby-Doo and Speed Racer. But back in the day, I'd come home from school and it would be Gilligan's Island and Brady Bunch back to back on KTVU 40 in Sacramento. And they had a guy named Captain Mitch. And Captain Mitch was this old creepy guy in a captain's jacket and kind of looked like Captain Kangaroo, but with a beard. And he was Captain Mitch, and he would always introduce the cartoons or Gilligan's Island. Coming up next, here's Gilligan's Island, here's the Brady Bunch, here's the Partridge Family. So those were my go-tos. It was Scooby-Doo, Speed Racer, Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, and then Partridge Family. And I don't know in what order, just depending on what mood I was in that week. So when you play that song, it's weird how psychologically a song takes you back to when you were like 8 years old, 9 years old, coming from school, watching Scooby-Doo. But Scooby-Doo to me was more not like after school until I was older. It was more Saturday morning cartoon with like the Super Friends and the Hall of Justice. And that was a big one that I can remember from Saturday morning back in the day. So we talk about Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, Fred Jones, Daphne, and Velma. And I got Daphne and Velma mixed up. The text line says, good looking for a cartoon character with a laughy face. Yeah. And then me and Colleen chimes in. She says, how was your first night's sleep on your Tempur-Pedic? It was awesome. Thanks to everybody at Mancini Sleep World for hooking me up. It was so easy. I mean, they just delivered my bed. I called them and delivered my bed. I'm not doing a commercial for them, but I just needed a new bed. My sleep number, the engine, the little thing that pumps the bed up because it's air, broke. So I was sleeping in a hot dog. So literally sleeping in a hot dog bun for a couple of months now. Not sleeping, I should say. So thanks to everybody at Mancini's for locking me in. All right, 54-54 as I speak. The Lakers just tied up with a two-pointer with 4:30 left in the second. We'll have Matt Kolsky on after the game to answer all your calls. He's watching. He's taking notes. He's locking in big time. There's a couple things I want to touch on in this segment real quick. The whole Wilson Contreras Cardinals thing. Have you guys heard this? They went out and they signed this big deal in the offseason. And then they made this big proclamation that Wilson Contreras isn't our catcher anymore. It's the worst start for the Cardinals maybe in franchise history. I know since the 70s. And to me, the whole thing was weird in the sense that Wilson Contreras didn't have the best reputation as a Cubs catcher. There was whispers and rumors that he was a me guy, that he didn't prepare like he should. I mean, David Ross is his manager as a catcher, and they didn't want him. He signed a 5-year, $87.5 million contract with the Cardinals. And 30-something games into the season, they pulled the plug on him as a catcher. They're playing horribly. What's the record? I'll get it up for you here in a second. They're playing poorly. And they decided that he's no longer going to be their catcher. And I'm thinking to myself, in all my years of baseball, the Cardinals are 13-25. They're 8 games back in the NL Central. In all my years, I've never seen a GM go about something like this where they publicly say he's no longer going to be our catcher. Like, here's how you handle that. You slowly slide him into the DH role where he caught 5 days a week. Now he's catching 3 days a week. Now he's catching 2 days a week. And then if reporters ask you, we're like, oh, well, we just kind of moved him around. But to make this grand proclamation that he's no longer our catcher diminishes any trade value for this guy. Say the Giants, for instance,
needed an all-star type catcher like this guy who doesn't come with a great reputation, allegedly. I don't know this. I've never been in a clubhouse with him. Like, this is a guy that to me would look great in a Giants uniform. Other teams hate him, so what? As long as his own team likes him, which I hear is questionable, then he could be an option for this team. But when your GM comes out and says he's no longer a catcher, he needs to put the work in. Like, okay, you had Yachty for all these years. I get it. You're used to having the gold standard and driving a Mercedes for all those years. And now maybe it's not a Mercedes. But to come out and throw him under the bus, no matter what's going on, I don't care if he's the biggest jerk on the planet. I don't care if pitchers are ready to fight him. You just don't make that so public and make such a huge proclamation about this guy is not our catcher. That doesn't do anybody any good. A general manager's main job and a manager's main job is to make things easier for the player, not harder for the player. A general manager and a manager's job is to make things easier for the team, not harder for the team. So when you come out and you make a national story by the guy you signed for 5 years and $87 million and say he's not our catcher anymore, now I as a player have to answer questions about Willson Contreras. And I'm not even a catcher. I might not even be a pitcher. Now it's a thing. So not only do you piss off Contreras, you're giving up on him after a month of the season. And maybe you appease a few pitchers that were pissed off. They're just supporting Yachty. This guy has no idea back there. He doesn't know how to call a game. He doesn't know how to frame. He's all about himself. He's coming late. He's not going to the meetings. Whatever it is. That's all stuff that should stay in the clubhouse. Now, if you want to trade him, who's going to want him? And what are you going to get for him? And how much in salary are you going to have to pick up? So just a weird thing by the St. Louis Cardinals, who are the storied franchise with a steep tradition. And they had something, I forget the guy's name, one of their outfielders this year, they called him out publicly. And they have a young coach. How long before Yachty or Molina is the manager of the Cardinals? How long before Mark DeRosa is the manager of the Cardinals? He played for the Cardinals. Like, this is just a weird deal going on in St. Louis. I don't have a lot of sympathy for him, because if you ask anybody, they feel like they invented baseball or whatever. They do have a great tradition, and it is a baseball town, I'll tell you that. But the way they handle that thing, to me, is just, I mean, you couldn't do it any worse. So that's number one. I want to get that off my chest. I've been meaning to do that after the game, but, Casey Schmidt, there's been great things to talk about after the Giants game, so I haven't gotten to that topic, and I know it's a few days old. The other one, when the Giants come back into town, who's going to hit splash hit number 100? Who is your money, 808 KNBR, in the text line, on the phone line? Who do you think is going to get splash hit number 100? Is it going to be Yaz? I mean, he's healing. Is it going to be Peterson? Is it going to be... I have, my money's on Lamont Wade, but I don't know who's going to do it. But that's a big honor, man. The history of this ballpark, all the balls that Giants have hit into the water, Barry Bonds did it all the time. I mean, it should be Bonds / McCovey-Co, but I love Willie Mays, so that's cool. We remember him every time a ball goes in the water. But I mean, this is going to be history. Splash hit number 100. The players are talking about it. I think Jock's trying to do it. He's hit the one he hit across the cove the other night, foul. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's amazing. So if you want to chime in on that, it's 64-56 Warriors with 1:53 left in the second. So hopefully they go up into the locker room ahead at halftime and they keep this series going. I don't know who's going to do it, but my money's on Lamont Wade Jr. All right, let me get to some of the text lines. There's a lot of text messages here. You guys want to talk about cartoons more than sports. I love it. I remember banana splits. Fa la 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 la. Yeah, banana splits were awesome. Weird. Somebody was super stoned when they did banana splits, but yes, I do remember that. Those cars they used to drive. Wilma Flintstone is hot. Yeah, Wilma. Yeah, and Betty in the Flintstones. I think they were swingers. If I had to guess, I feel like the Flintstones were swingers. Barton Manteca, let me see, what do you have to say? Let's go to the 559. Hello, FP, about this. Bart Mania, Tyler Rogers VR, and a player to be named later for Willson Contreras. We can throw in FZ as well. Who's that? I don't know. See, the whole thing with Contreras is, I don't think that's the worst idea, minus the parts you're throwing out there, is can he fall in line into your clubhouse? Will he work with the makeup of the team? I think the Giants need a little bit of spice. I think they need a jerk, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? I want to say the D word, but I can't say it on the radio. They need that guy to go out there and piss a team off. Maybe piss some of your own players off. Like, who cares? I would sign him. I don't care what the rumors are. I don't care what anybody says. If the Cardinals pick up, I don't know, $40 million of that, $50 million of that, and I'm paying $30 million for him over 5 years, yeah, absolutely. I'm all in. Nothing against Joey Bart. Nothing against Blake Sable. Willson Contreras can play. I don't know if he puts much thought into the fingers he puts down or the buttons he presses. I don't know how that goes. I don't know about his framing skills. I haven't watched him close enough. I know he can throw the hell out of it, and I know he can hit. I know he plays hard. I've watched him. He's not a dog. He plays hard. He just gives 0 Fs about what anybody thinks about him. Apparently, through the grapevine, rumors, his own teammates too. But I'm thinking, Gabe might be a guy that can get to him. I'm okay. I would be fine, even if there's reports that are worse than the rumors, the third-hand stuff I've heard about him. I would be fine with Willson Contreras in a Giants uniform. I think he would add to their offense. I don't know if the pitchers would like to throw to him, but they're going to have to get over it. But yeah, I think he'd be a huge upgrade. And I don't know if I'd give up everybody you just said. But yeah. Oh, FZ is Farhan. Okay, thank you. I thought you misspelled FP into FZ. Let's go to Josh on the cell. Josh wants to chime in. Josh, thanks for calling the show, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, JP. I appreciate you, man. I do a commute, and so I'm listening to you on the nights. I've never called in first time, so I want to talk about two things. I'll be quick about it.
You don't have to be quick. We're killing time here. Take your time.
Right.
Talk slow.
Let's kill some time.
Yeah.
GM at Cardinals and the catcher. Sometimes, and I know you know from professional experience, sometimes you got to blow a guy up like that publicly, no matter what, to get him to change his ways. And if he doesn't, he's gone. Okay? That's my opinion. That's it. Sometimes you got to be blown up in the public eye.
Okay.
The other thing I'm going to go back. Go ahead.
I'll disagree with you on that, but it's your first call, so I don't want to blow you up either. So I won't blow you up publicly. I think you take care of things behind the scenes. I think that's how I don't know. I feel like that's more productive, right? It's kind of cool for us. It gives us something to talk about when we hear things publicly that maybe we shouldn't. But if you want to be successful as a franchise and as a team, I think you handle everything you can behind closed doors because everything's so public now with social media.
I fully agree with social media being not a good thing. It's horrible. So the other thing I want to talk about, just kind of that thing in the room, since everyone's bringing up kind of Green and Pools, I'm going to just say this. Dump Green, fix the club. Get rid of him. I'm sorry. Get rid of him. Sometimes you have cancers in the club or the basketball team, whatever we want to say it. You got a cancer there that's just kind of festering. It's making everyone else a little sour. And then you see it translate through the rest of the team. Even coaches kind of trying to figure out, scratch their heads going, how do I deal with this? And so for me, if I'm in Kerr's shoes, I go, Green, appreciate your effort. You are money, absolute money. But your attitude destroys everything you do positive. And that's it.
The one thing, Josh, I would argue with, and I kind of agree with you. I might be over Draymond too, and that's not a very popular opinion around here. When you have a player that's done so much for you, there's a certain loyalty there to that player, right? The 4 rings. And, he kind of is the engine that makes them go at times. But, Josh, when you have a guy behind the scenes that is a lot, and he continues to be a lot, that wears a team down, man. That's like an energy vampire. When you have a guy that's just sucking the life out of your locker room because we have to answer questions about him all the time. And there's another thing about him, and he's doing another thing, and you have to calm him down here. Sports is so hard when everything's perfect. But if you have a guy that, okay, we'll put up with him, we've won 4 rings, all of a sudden it gets to a point, and I've been around better players than Draymond on not better teams, but better players than Draymond that are future Hall of Famers in baseball. That they just, and it's nobody in a Giants uniform, it was somewhere back east, they just became a lot. And a lot was too much. And the other players knew it was a lot. And the coaches knew it was a lot. And the GM knew it was a lot. And even though he was so damn good, it came to a point where a lot was too much. And maybe that's the case with Draymond right now, where a lot is just too much. And you just don't need that. The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I agree. And don't get me wrong, right? I'm a Dubs fan. I've listened to your updates on the game. My wife's got the game on at home. But you said it right. 4 rings. You got Steph, solid, getting older though. Clay, solid, getting older though. Draymond, getting older. So eventually you're going to have to change one piece of that for sure. And I think that it's Green. So that's my opinion.
I don't disagree with you, Josh. Thanks for the call. Steph Curry just nails a bomb at the buzzer. I mean, a bomb to go up 70-59 at halftime. So Warriors by 11 at the half is your update from KNBR 680, 104.5. We'll continue the updates. If you don't know this and you're just joining us, Matt Kolsky will be on right after the game. I'm going to kind of throw it to him, actually. He's watching the game. So when he comes on, I'll do a segment or two with him, and then I'm just going to let him take it till midnight because he's watching the game way more. I'm talking about Scooby freaking Doo, and he's watching the game. So if you want me to do the Scooby-Doo post-game show, I got you. But Matt Kolsky is going to do the Golden State Warriors post-game show. They're up by 11 at the half. We'll take your calls, some more Giants talk, some more Warriors updates. Well, we got to kill the halftime segment. So, Danny Emmerman, he's coming on. I have him right here. So coming up next, Danny Emmerman, who covers the Giants for us. We'll switch gears and go back to Giants on the Sports Leader.
Facebook. This is KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, my next guest tonight, he covers the Giants for us right here at KNBR. I see him at the yard every day. He's wonderful at what he does. He's a frequent guest of the show, and he joins us right now. Danny Emmerman. Danny, what's going on, man? How we doing today?
Doing well. Always a pleasure, FP. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I love having you on. So the Nationals are 16-21. The Giants are 16-20. The Nationals lost 107 games this year. The Giants dropped 2 out of 3 to a team that lost 107 games this year. I was with a longtime season ticket holder today in the stands, and he was not happy. So your thoughts on the state of the Giants, I guess, before we get into specifics.
So I think something that's interesting about the Giants this week with the Nationals is that they had 2 huge blow-up innings. You had Disclafani in the first game with the first inning allowing 5 runs. You had today with Manaea allowing that a big four-run inning in the second, and then obviously more in the third. I think that's a trend around baseball. It seems like more and more frequently you see these huge innings that kind of spiral out of control. And I think you've heard pitchers say, like, it's harder to stop runs because of the pitch clock. It's harder to find your rhythm and step off and catch your breath. That's not an issue that's unique to the Giants, but I think it's introduced more variability into these games. And there's a bit more competitive balance in the league. And I think that could be one reason why.
Well, I saw Disclafani against the Astros do the opposite, right? He had the momentum on the mound. He was calling his own pitches. He was 2 or 3 pitches ahead of the whole thing, and he was pitching downhill, so to speak, the whole game. And it looked like Sean Manaea today, and even Anthony a couple days ago was pitching uphill the whole time. So when the offense does gain momentum, it's tough to stop it as a pitcher, but you have to find a way. This is the big leagues. You only play one out every 5 days, and it seemed like Sean Manaea just didn't have his good stuff today. I will say this about the Nationals. It was kind of refreshing to see a team that refused to strike out and put the ball in play consistently, even if it was just singles. I mean, that type of baseball works.
That's true. They were very aggressive. They swung early and often in counts. It was fun to watch. A lot of activity on the base pad. It's definitely a style that can be more visibly appealing to fans, and I understand that. But I don't think the Nationals are going to have more success than the Giants this year. That's just because they're less talented, not necessarily because of their style. But it's been proven that, putting runners on base in a bloop and a home run is a very successful way of playing baseball.
So Gabe Kapler after the game and you can help me out with this more than anybody, said the process metrics were good Wednesday. Okay. I thought the only good things to me were Conforto's home run. Maybe he gets off the schneid. Casey Schmidt with a couple of hits, and then Lamont Wade Jr. with his homer. But apparently the process metrics were good. Please explain.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of mumbo jumbo, to be honest. I think Gabe was careful about his words when asked about Sean Manaea, and I think process metrics was probably in reference to him throwing more strikes and getting ahead in counts earlier. He got into an 0-2 count in the first 4 batters he faced, but yeah, I don't think Gabe was in the mood to criticize Sean Manaea after the game today. I asked him if, at what point is Sean Manaea auditioning for a spot on rotation. He said, we'll discuss that after the game, after we watch this game over, after we process it and discuss it with the pitching coaching staff. I think that says all you need to know about how tenuous Manaea's spot in the rotation is.
Yeah, I think that's media speak for we're going to make an adjustment. We'll see what happens. Talking to Danny Emmerman, nice enough to join us. He works for us right here at KNBR. He's at the ballpark every single day, working his butt off for the station. He does a great job. All right, I rarely criticize the manager. I know how hard it is, but I was in the stands today. I heard the murmurs, and I was thinking the same thing, so I have to be true to listeners. I have to be true to myself and my credibility. I was wondering why he left Sean Manaea in so long today. The exit velocities were firm, and they were coming in hot, and it was one after another in the second inning and the third inning, and nobody was up, and I was sitting there going, man, he just doesn't have it today. No knock against Sean Manaea. He struggled this year. He's a good pitcher. Hopefully he figures it out, but today he wasn't, and I don't know if he was just going with him because I feel like the starters have done a nice job in this series with DeSclafani. After he gave up 5, did he go 6 innings? Logan Webb went 7 yesterday. I feel like his bullpen was locked and loaded. And I guess my only criticism would be why did he leave him in so long today?
Yeah, he didn't leave him in that long.
He left him in too long. It was 8-0, Danny, and the game was over before he came out of the game. That game was over right there. And that I guess too long is too long, whether it's an inning, whether it's 3 innings.
Yeah, no, I think that's valid criticism. Once you see all the exit velocities on all these singles and doubles against Manaea, felt like a home run was kind of due to happen. Hindsight is really easy, and playing the results game can be dangerous. But yeah, I think it's possible that,
Danny, it wasn't hindsight for me. I was saying it at the time, so it wasn't like afterwards. I was like, why did he leave him in so long? I was real time wondering why he was in so long.
You don't want to yank your starter after 2 innings if you can avoid it.
Right.
You want to get as much length as you can, right? And they were banking on Manaea kind of settling in. In his last start, he had a tough first inning and kind of danced around it and then settled in for 4 scoreless, if I remember correctly. So I think they were hoping that something like that would have happened. But yeah, he said his stuff just sucked today, and it definitely did. It's probably hard to identify that in real time right away and get the bullpen ready right away, because it's a small sample. You see 3 or 4 pitches that suck at the top of the zone and they get barreled. I think maybe you could throw a few more better ones, but yeah, they could have acted quicker, but I'm not sure if that's, I don't think Gabe regrets leaving him in to the 3rd inning.
All right, well, I'm smiling as I'm talking to you, but I apologize for taking out my today's frustration on Danny Emmerman, who's nice enough to join the show tonight. Has become a good friend of mine over the last couple of years at the ballpark. I'm like, wait a minute, he should have taken him out. But hey, we can all think that. That's the beauty of baseball, by the way. A guy can have a bad day, but he doesn't suck. A manager can make a bad decision, but he doesn't suck. And we can question things every once in a while as long as we're not getting personal with it. And I just thought that maybe the writing was on the wall early today, so to speak. But yeah, maybe you mess up your bullpen for the whole Diamondback series, and that's a ballpark where last year the ball didn't fly. This year it's flying again. So maybe he was thinking about, you lose one battle and maybe win a war in Arizona. So let's get to the bright side of all things. The Casey Schmidt story last night was amazing. One of the best stories of the ballpark all season long. The vibe last night in the ballpark was different. So you were there. Maybe you could explain the whole Casey Schmidt thing. You talked to him after the game. Just a feel-good story, and you backed it up with 2 more knocks today.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story, and it's what baseball and behind the scenes is all about. And getting to this summit. And it was really cool to see, to spend time with his family, to see them cheering. They were back again in full force today. Dancing Let's Go Casey when he got up. And, hey, 2 more base knocks today. I think he looks really confident and comfortable in the batter's box. He's using all parts of the field. His line drive in his first at-bat doubled 108 miles per hour off his bat. He looks athletic. I think, it's only 2 games, but you can't really ask for much more out of the guy.
Yeah, I know. 2 wonderful games. And, I did kind of the same thing my first couple of games in the big leagues, and all of a sudden, your game plays there, and you can relax and play baseball. Whereas if you go for 4 a couple of times, you start to wonder, can I play up here? I don't know. And you start to doubt yourself. So cool for his confidence. Cool for us as fans to be able to watch this thing evolve. Do we look back on today, Danny, and say today was the day Michael Conforto locked in? I mean, the home run today, a nice swing. It looked like he got his foot down a little bit earlier than normal. He's been struggling. It's nice to see him barrel one up and hit a home run.
For him, I think it's tough for a guy who has been out of the game for so long. He didn't play all of last year. So when you're in a funk like that, I think it's probably harder to snap out of it. I mean, he was 1 for his last 26 heading into that at-bat. The Giants could use it, certainly, with the way their outfield is getting thinned out with all these injuries to Mike Yastrzemski and to Austin Slater now. They could get a little bit more production out of Conforto. And if today's the day, as you're hoping that it clicked for him, I think it came at a right time if that's the case.
Absolutely. And Lamont Wade Jr., he's looked great all season long, with whether it's his eye at the plate, but he's on his legs again. Another home run today, his 7th of the year. He went 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs. He's been, I think, better than advertised at first base. He's had a couple of hiccups on picks and a couple of ground balls that have taken weird hops, but I think he's played well enough at first base, better than I thought he could play. And offensively, man, he looks like he's healthy again. Yeah, he's healthy and he's feeling good. I've talked to him a few times recently. I think when Farhan and this front office decided to let Brandon Belt walk and to not replace him with the traditional first baseman, I think people kind of shrugged at that. I think they were a bit confused. But this organization was always really, really high on Lamont Wade Jr., and they're totally vindicated right now. I mean, he's playing better defense at first base than Brandon Belt did last year. He's rangier, more athletic. He's made a couple diving plays, and he's, as everybody knows by now, it's on the broadcast every at bat. They call him full count Lamont. He's seeing more pitches than anyone in baseball. He's walking at the highest rate in baseball. His on base percentage is 44%. I think he's been arguably the best leadoff hitter in baseball this year. Yeah, it's been fun to watch, and he just seems like a good dude, and I'm happy for his early season success. Hopefully he can keep it up all year. All right, to Austin Slater, the bad news today. He stumbled out of the box. It looked like he pulled up 3/4 of the way to first base. He had a base hit, so you knew he was hurt. It doesn't look good. He's obviously going to go on the IL. Who are they calling up? Is it going to be Bryce Johnson? What's your thoughts on who replaces Austin Slater? I think it'll probably be Bryce Johnson. They could get a little bit creative and go with Tyro Estrada a little bit more in the outfield and have VR stick with Brandon Crawford once he returns in the middle infield. But I think Bryce Johnson will probably get another chance. But listen, the Mike Yastrzemski, Austin Slater platoon in center field, when healthy, is much, much more dangerous than a Brett Wisely, Bryce Johnson platoon in center field. I don't think these options are particularly strong. They'll make do for as long as they can, but I think Bryce Johnson and Brett Wisely is a pretty significant downgrade. Yeah, I mean, and they're up against it. Arizona's a good team. I told you this off air, and I've told you this a few times. They were the most impressive team I saw in spring training. And I said on air publicly I wouldn't be surprised if they win the National League West. We'll see how this series goes in Arizona. All right, as I let you go on the way out, do you think there's any way the Warriors win three in a row and pull this thing out? I do not. This interview might be airing right before this game, right? Yeah, it's live right now, Danny. Yeah. Oh, it's live. All right. I don't think they're going to win. I think the dynasty probably ends
in Game 6 in LA.
So you think they win tonight and then go back to – yeah. I'm kind of with you on that. There's too much going on that's weird, whether it's Jordan Poole, all of a sudden El Bencho, and him being out of control this year. There's just been an undercurrent through the whole season. There's something that none of us know about, I feel like.
Yeah. The vibes have been off, right? They've been off since Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in the face. Understandably so. They haven't gotten, enough production out of their bench, out of the guys that they drafted to be their second timeline. Moody, Kuminga, Poole, James Wiseman is obviously gone. They didn't get anything out of him. And you look at all these other teams who are still alive in the playoffs, and they're getting production from guys like Christian Braun, guys like, Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White. And the 7 through 9 guys on these rosters are just so much more talented than the guys that the Warriors have. They're more talented and they're more playoff ready. Even the guys on the Lakers, the Rui Hachimuras and the Austin Reeves, those guys can play. Kuminga hasn't gotten off the bench. Moody, is hit or miss. DeMichael Green starting games. The Warriors 7 through 9 just isn't there this year, and I think that's going to be their downfall.
Do you think Draymond should punch him again real quick before this game tonight? Just got to knock some sense into him one more time?
I won't advocate for violence, but I'm sure some fans would like to, the way that Jordan Poole played.
No, I'm just joking, but how you watch those movies where somebody gets amnesia and they can't remember their name or their family, and then they conk their head again and they snap out of it? That's just what I was thinking. I don't condone violence either. Just thinking maybe a little conk on the head would knock them out of it. Danny, thanks for your time after a long day at the yard. The Giants lose 11-6 to the Nationals, and Danny Emmerman, nice enough to come on the show.
Of course. Thanks a lot, FP.
All right, Danny Emmerman, he's doing a great job for us here at KNBR, and he's a good kid. And he's really good at what he does. We're only going to have him here for a limited time. He's going to be working for the Chronicle or something even bigger very, very soon. Boston Globe, maybe. He's from that area. New York Times. He has a bright future, except for being smart and not playing along with that was a live interview kind of a thing and just throwing that whole thing under the bus. That you got to know how to play the game, bro. Got to know how to play the game. All right. I had the score. Now they're at commercial. What the hell's going on here? The Warriors are up by a lot. How about that for an update? 79-61. So the Warriors up by 18 points by my math. And it looks like it could be another rout. We'll see. Jordan Poole's playing under control. I'm reading on Twitter because I'm not watching as intently as I should or could. I should say it's not my fault. I'm interviewing Danny Emmerman live. How am I supposed to watch the game? So the Warriors up by 18. So we'll have updates. 808 KNBR is the number. We're going to – I don't know if you missed the Casey Schmidt interview last night after the game from the bunker. So we will replay that for you. But open segment coming up next. 808 KNBR. You want to talk some Giants baseball? You want to talk about the Dubs, what you're seeing in the game. If you're listening, I appreciate it. Call the show right now. Damn it. You're listening to FP Santangelo on KNBR 680 104.5, the sports leader.
Tonight with FP Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hot rod, and when these odds are against him, and there's dangerous work to do. Go, Speed Racer, go, Speed Racer, go. Guns a car around the track. He guns a better, lightning's never coming back. He's just waiting just ahead. Go, Speed Racer. Go, Speed Racer. Go, Speed Racer, go. Dude, the reason why I've gotten so many tickets and I drive to win is because of that show. It just hit me in the middle of that song. Like, I grew up watching Speed Racer, like, with the jumper thing going from cliff to cliff and driving like a maniac. And that's why I drive like a maniac. That's why I always say drive to win. It's Speed Racer's fault. Growing up, one of my favorite cartoons. Spritle and Chim Chim always in the trunk. Trixie. Don't make you think Trixie was as innocent as she looked. No. I love Speed Racer. And I wanted a Mach 5. Maybe that's why I've spent way too much money on fast cars my whole life. So Speed Racer, maybe number 1 now that you play it. As far as Flintstones, number 2. Scooby-Doo, number 3 for all-time cartoons for me. So if you want to chime in, we're watching. You want to update Warriors by 15, 85-70, 5:20 left in the third quarter. Are the Lakers? Should they just get on the plane right now? Are they into is this like load management when you're down just to quit? It's like we're having a weird show tonight. I'm down by 15 right now. Should I just take it to the house? I mean, you try to go up against the Warriors in a home game. You try to do your show at home. Warriors. Anyways, we're having fun. Either way, having a good time. 85-72. Obviously, this game's not over. And it looks like the Lakers are battling. But, you know, it's that whole thing where there's so much time on the clock in football. The team's about to score. Do you let them score? And then get the ball back kind of thing? Or do you play hard on defense the whole game? Tom used to say this when I was here my first time around. We do shows together. And I would be like, no way, dude. You're battling your ass off the whole game. You're just going to lay down and let the team score a touchdown the last minute so you get the ball back. It's the dumbest idea I ever heard. I would tell Tom this on the air. Tom and I did a ton of shows together back in the day. I used to fill in for Ralph all the time. And Ralph and I did a ton of shows back in the day. I used to fill in for Tom a lot when he was doing all the network work for the games. But Tom and I would always get into it. And Ralph, too. Ralph they would agree on this. And I was like, old school. No, you hold them. And that's it. Then you get the ball back. But it makes sense, right? Like, let them score. You have time to recover and win the game. But if you let the clock run down, you have no time. So I guess in a sense that the Lakers and the Warriors have kind of done this in the blowout games of this series. Like, let's conserve. Let's get them tomorrow, so to speak, even though it's every other day. And there's something to that. Steph Curry's dribbling. He's dribbling some more, and now he's going to shoot a layup, and that doesn't go, and he falls down. How many times has Steph Curry shot a layup and not fallen down? 808 KNBR, I'm going to say close to never. He falls down every layup. Lakers miss, the Warriors have the ball. Steph is dribbling. I'm going to do NBA play-by-play. Steph's dribbling, he shoots, but there's a whistle, and I think there's a timeout. So 87-73, Warriors up by 14, standing ovation. Steve Kerr is grabbing Steph Curry as he goes back to the huddle around the waist, and he just made out. I would. Damn, he's the best player in the NBA. He's been carrying your team. So 808 KNBR is the number. Let's go. Can we go to the interview? Yes. Okay, so we got the exclusive last night in the bunker. Matt Chisholm, great guy, best PR man in baseball. The Giants have the best PR team in baseball. Trust me, I've been with some horrible ones. I have. I'm not going to say where, but it runs to Washington. And it's nice to be home. It's nice to be home to have a really good PR team. And I asked Matt before the game, I said, hey, if Casey does anything tonight, the Giants win, can I have him in the bunker? Sure enough, Casey did something last night, and they won. And here's the interview from the bunker last night after Casey Schmidt's Major League debut. Casey Schmidt, what's going on, man? Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it was awesome. It's something I'm never going to forget.
Yeah, of course. Is your head just spinning right now? Like, just take me through your day. I mean, first of all, before we get to, obviously, your first Major League hit, how did you get the call? What was that like?
Yeah, so I was in a movie theater with some of my friends. We were watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I actually missed the first call, and then I got they called me again like 5 minutes later. Brandy, our manager at Sacramento, and he started playing, played it cool, and then he told me at the end. So it was really special for me.
So you're in a movie theater taking the call. Were you talking all quiet, or did you go outside?
No, I went outside. It was like towards the end, so like you've seen like Marvel movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You know how the ending they'll have like the extra scene at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
We were waiting for that, and then so I got the second call, and I was like, I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, I gotta answer it. Like it's Brendy. So I was like, okay. So I went outside and answered it, and then he told me.
So that's going to be your favorite movie for the rest of your life, right? You're just going to watch it on replay all the time.
It's a good movie.
All right, we'll get to the hit first, but your first big league at bat. I mean, I watched you in batting practice today. Your coach, Joe Oliveira, was here. You just seem relaxed all day. Like, this is just like you were born for this. You were meant to do it. You didn't look uptight or nervous, but maybe take me through, coming to the clubhouse for the first time, seeing your name on the lineup card, talking to Gabe, and then we'll get to your first at-bat.
Yeah, so for me, I was around all these guys for during spring training, so I kind of got to develop the relationship, and then once I got here, it was just kind of, I just felt calm just because, I had a pretty good relationship with them, and they've been really awesome with me, and during spring training and everything. So yeah, it was special. I just I tried to be as calm as I could, and just kind of go out and just try to help the team win in any way.
And you did. We're talking to Casey Schmidt, nice enough to join us here in the bunker. All right, your first at bat. You walk up there, got a nice round of applause, a big ovation.
Mm-hmm.
Were you nervous?
I was. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty nervous. So. Yeah, but it was something that it's also something that I've thought about since I was little. Getting that first major league at bat. So for me, it was just kind of just trying to stay calm and just kind of ease the nerves and just let whatever happens.
I was just telling the story. My first big league at bat, my back leg was shaking so bad. I thought everybody in the stands could see my back leg shaking. I swung as hard as I could, hit a ground ball to short.
That's what I did.
And then got up my second time and hit a triple. So take me through your second at bat. I mean, you took some good hacks. Your first at bats, swung at the first pitch, grounded out to short, and then obviously your second at bat.
Yeah. I was just trying to get something that I could drive, and I got what I was looking for, and I try not to miss it. So I just try to stay in the middle of the field, not try to do too much, and let it take care of itself. And yeah, it was really special.
Did you black out running around the bases? What was it like jogging around the pillows?
I was trying to soak it in as much as possible. I was just kind of looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. It's still like crazy just like thinking about it.
Did you ever envision that as a kid, like in your backyard playing wiffle ball, or maybe in the minor leagues, like I'm going deep, my major league debut? Was that a thought process ever?
No, no. It was always I just want to get the hit over with. I just wanted to get that hit, and for it to be the home run, that was awesome. And I'm just lost of words for that.
Casey, I was going down to see some friends from the press box tonight, and I was right by. I didn't even know that was your family right there, and I was watching your at bat from the concourse, and I looked and I saw this mob group going berserk. I'm like, that's got to be Casey's family. So take me through that. I mean, did you hear them at all when you crossed home plate? Did you point to them? And how many people did you have here tonight, and who was here?
Yeah, there was a lot of my family and friends from home. So I think about total maybe 30 to 40 of them, I want to say, not for sure, but yeah, there was a lot of them that made the trip. So that was really special to kind of have all of them in the crowd and to be able to kind of go out and play, and especially to win. It was really special for me and for them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The Giants are great at being able to get the families here for the debut. So that was really cool for that. I mean, the crowd tonight, it was a different vibe tonight, Casey. I know you haven't been here. I know this was your major league debut, but it just seemed like there was more electricity in the stands tonight. Your fourth at bat, you came up there. Did you hear the "Let's Go Casey" chants?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm getting goosebumps telling that to you. Like, that was awesome. I mean, your first big league game, and you had a whole ballpark chanting "Let's Go Casey."
Yeah, that was awesome, and these fans are amazing, and I'm just so thankful that I'm in this organization.
Yeah, well, we're thankful you are too. So, how's shortstop been working out? How's second been working out? I saw you play a lot of third and short in spring training, not a lot of second. So, how's it been moving around defensively for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I just going over there and just learning. I played a couple of games there in AAA at second base. So just learning just kind of like the reads. They're two similar positions, but like they still have their differences. So just kind of going out and just taking what I can and just learning from other guys and the coaching stuff.
Cool. Are you gonna celebrate doing things? Was there a toast in the clubhouse afterwards? Like, congratulations on your first big league hit. Did you guys do a toast?
Yeah, they let me have it. There was a little party in there. It was cool.
Yeah, that's what happens when you win the big leagues. It turns into a club in the clubhouse, right? With the foggers, the strobe lights. Yeah. Did you expect any of that?
I saw a video of it on Instagram. I think it was of Conforto going in. And that was super cool. I heard the music and I was like, oh man.
Dude, there's nothing like winning at this level. It's all that matters. And when you do, it's a party in the clubhouse every night. And I'll let you go, man. Day game tomorrow. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for your time. And thanks for thrilling us all tonight with a wonderful debut, man. Keep it up, man. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
All right, dude. Go get some.
So that was last night in the bunker. Casey was nice enough to join us. What a great kid, right? I mean, you heard that caller earlier tonight say that he met Casey Schmidt in A-ball and he sent him gifts. And he took time out. And then he comes in the bunker last night. Just so you know, like when I have a guest in the bunker, like not that they're being rude or anything, but when the interview's over, they get up with the PR team and they walk out. Casey sat there in the chair for another like couple seconds while I threw it to commercial break and then stood up, looked me in the eye and shook my hand. Like, this is a good kid, man. So this is somebody that we can all wrap our arms around. I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy, right? Like, What happened last night, what happened today with 2 more hits in case you missed it. He had a double today and a single today, ringing double in the left center field. He's locked in. Like his swing, he's on time. He's locked in. Made some nice plays at shortstop too. It's just that I don't think of him as a shortstop, by the way. He's going to win a Gold Glove and multiple Gold Gloves at third base once the Giants just let him play third. And it's tough for a young kid to be bouncing around. I would love to see him just play third, but JD's doing so well. What are you going to do? That said, just to have him come into the bunker last night was, why I love doing this job. To sit there with a player who's still just beaming from his Major League debut and to have the first interview with him, really. He talked to the scrum after the game, but to have that first one-on-one interview with a guy that I think is going to be around for a while. And I said this earlier in the show if you're just tuning in. Giants fans are thirsty to wrap their arms around a hero. They really are. And that's not a knock against anybody else on that team. Logan is your guy right now. I guess if you had to pick one, not I guess, he is. Logan's your guy. But everybody else is really good players. But when you talk about the face of a franchise, way too early to call Casey Schmidt that, but he has potential to be. Warriors up 91-77. 1 minute left in the third. But he has potential to be that guy. I think I feel like you guys do because I pride myself on having a finger on the pulse. That's why I go to the yard every day. That's why I get to the ballpark at 3:30, 4 o'clock for a 10 o'clock show every night because I like to talk to the manager. I like to talk to the players. When I come on after the show in the bunker, I just like to be present. I like to be a part of it. So I'm prepared when I come on after the game. And, being a Giants fan pretty much my whole entire life, I feel like you guys feel. And this guy's a guy that has that potential to be a guy that we all just go like, he's our guy. I'm getting a Casey Schmidt jersey. If I were printing up T-shirts right now, they would be black and in orange. It would say Schmidt Show. And that's all I would say on the front. And that's what we called it last night from the bunker. It was a Schmidt Show. But yeah, that was fun last night. It was special. It was one of those special nights at the yard. So even if you weren't there, you watched it on TV, you listened to it on KNBR. With John and Dave. Just a fun night, man. And today was the opposite. Today was just a big clunker. It all starts with your pitcher, man. Your momentum is as good as your day's starting pitcher, whoever your chunker is for that day. Hold on, I'm getting some text messages on my phone. Let me check these real quick. Let's go to Joe. Joe in Clayton wants to talk some Warriors. They're up by 13, 93-80. The Lakers have the ball with 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Jordan Poole is playing some good defense. Imagine that. Joe, what's going on? You're on KNBR.
I would just briefly say that our downhill play tonight is amazing, and I think that's actually a deficit for the Lakers going forward unless they adjust. It would be amazing to look at the percentage of points that have been scored in the lower paint. So off the elbow, there's been great movement, but everyone is attacking. And subsequently, we'll win this game. And I think, defensively, I don't know if the Lakers are committing that way. And it looks like an area that we can really exploit. Certainly, high percentage shots are far better than three balls, as we know. But it's amazing the amount of layups and shots that have been made in the lower paint off backdoor cuts, a lot of movement, but particularly off the elbow and just contesting defenders and going rack. So I've been kind of pleasantly surprised by that and hopeful that we can sustain that into the get over the hill during this series and get deeper into the run toward a championship possibly. Do
you think they can win 3 in a row?
I do.
They haven't won. Have they won 3 in a row all year?
I love it.
I don't think they have though. I'm serious. I don't think they won 3.
No, I know what you mean. You know who I think can get us there is Steph Curry. I really believe that he's amazing, not only as a leader but as a player. But I really believe this run lies in his hands. His leadership, just multifaceted. He's a 360 player and in all facets of the game, and just is a true champion. They all are, but I think it lies with Steph. I really do.
It does. He's one of the best players ever. And I love everything about him. I love the fact that, you're going to double team me. I'll drop 14 assists on you. He does whatever it takes to win. The one thing, Joe, that I always go back to, it's odd to me that he had to talk players into being committed for a Game 7 against Sacramento. Either you get on this bus and you're in, or don't even get on the bus.
That, I mean, for Game 7, that they're still having some issues off the court or in the locker room, or guys bitching about playing time, guys bitching about shots, like that part to me is concerning. And then when you talk to some people that are around the Lakers, like I did today earlier with a guy named Greg Beecham who came on the show, he's a beat writer. He talks about team and how they're all for each other. And those are the things we used to say about the Warriors. And I haven't heard any of that this year. Like, they're such a close group, and they're a team in every way, and they all get along. I haven't heard anything like that all season.
Do you think it originated with the debacle with Poole and Draymond early on? It fractured the culture. Yeah,
I do. Even if you apologize, even if you hug it out, there's still going to be side eyes, and there's still going to be triggers. Like, we've all been through traumas in our life, and there's all these triggers as you go along through life as you try to get over these traumas. And I'm sorry, getting punched in the face by your teammate, your brother, is that's a traumatic experience. I don't care who you are.
Into the culture of the team. I agree 100% on that. And I think, with Wiggins too, there were some personal things, God bless him. And, just a lot, persevering through injuries is tough enough, and just the challenge of a very long season. But I think that's very poignant of you. I think you're brilliant in that piece, because it really comes back to the climate and culture of a program. And we have such a great coach, leadership-wise, and such great legacy that if we do win a championship, if we've gone beyond the court to persevere through to get there, But I just feel like it's not over for us. And I know it's a far shot, but I think we'll win tonight. And I like what I'm seeing, and hopefully we can I tell you what, if we get into the next series, then I think we can head towards championship land, because what we've done in this series, if we win, is very uncommon, right?
Yeah, man, I'm with you, Joe. I love your vibe, man. Keep calling the show. It's good stuff. It's not like unicorns and rainbows. You just have confidence in this team, and you think that they can pull it out. And I love that. And you got good reasons for it. And they're up by 11 as the fourth quarter starts right now. So I'll let you get back to the game, Joe. Thanks for calling the show during the Warriors game. That means a lot, man. I appreciate it, dude.
You got it. Thank you. God bless. Thanks.
Yeah, man. That's Joe from Clayton adding a lot to the show. That was like having a guest. So thanks to Joe. Going to take a quick break. I see all your text messages there. We'll open up the phone lines again. 808 KNBR is the number. Warriors up by 11 with the ball. Steph passes the ball. And now GP2 from the corner for 3. No. LeBron with the rebound. I probably shouldn't be doing this. All right. Going to take a quick break. Your call's next on the Sports Leader.
You're tuned into KNBR Tonight with former Giant FP Santangelo. Listen to us here and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We are KNBR 1045 and 680, the sports leader.
Warriors up by 13, 7:55 left in the fourth. So that's good if you're a Warriors fan, which we all are. So just to recap the show, a little face-off with Tom and Copes. Then we talked a little Giants baseball. They lost another game today to the Nationals, and they dropped 2 out of 3 to a team that lost 107 games last year. I came on and as a fan, and I was kind of bummed about today. I thought today was a big game. And I know they're 36 games into the season, but they're 6 games back now. They're 1 game out of last place on May 10th. The old adage, you are what you are after 40 games. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but, I mean, the Nationals are 16-21. The Giants are 16-20. The Nationals were 55-107 last year. So, yeah, have they improved? Okay. But, like, the Giants need to get it going, and they're going to Arizona to play a really good team in a hard ballpark to win it. And I know they owned them a couple of years ago, but that was then. These guys are fast. They have team speed. They have a lot of good players, and they're playing some pretty good baseball. So we'll see what happens in Arizona. But my take was that all of a sudden I'm concerned, and I haven't been concerned a lot this year. I've said, oh, well, we'll see what happens. They got to get healthy. Once they get healthy, we'll judge them. Well, they're pretty much healthy now. They're missing Yaz. Now they're missing Slater, who tweaked his hamstring today. If you're going to have a good season, you take 2 out of 3 from the Washington Nationals. You take 2 out of 3 from the Kansas City Royals. The teams you're supposed to beat, you got to beat. And day game after night game, like today, you're down by 4, then you're down by 8. I get that. As a position player, it's embarrassing because what you have to do is it's 3 hours of torture, 2.5 now, where you're standing out there and you know you can't win the game. The probability of you winning is like 2%, maybe 1%. So you're going to go up there and you try to give it a good show. You're going to try to give it a good at-bat. You realize that people paid money to come see you play, but like 8-0, that game's over. And I felt like it was happening, and I saw it happening before it happened. And it's the first time all year I've said, I wonder why nobody's up in the bullpen. Like, I don't make it a habit. If you guys have listened to the show, I don't criticize the manager. I sit in his office. I talk to him all the time. He's a good dude. I like Gabe Kapler. But today I was sitting in the stands with my years of baseball experience scratching my head. Like, it was obvious that Sean Manaea didn't have it. And that's okay. There was days when I didn't have it. There's days when Raph doesn't have it. Like, that's just being a human being. But I think noticing that and knowing that, well, you're not managing this like it's Game 7 of the World Series, but it's the rubber match of a series, and you want to have a win going into a plane flight, into a road trip. Those are big days. Those are momentum days for me. When you can capture the momentum on a getaway day, have a fun plane ride, a fun bus ride to the airport, a fun ride from the airport to the hotel in the city you're staying in, those are momentum days. And it was a day game after night game for both teams. Josiah Gray was good today. He was really good. But he's a guy I thought they would hit. He's got a straight fastball. He's really improving. He's becoming a better player. But I started the show with, I'm a Giants fan first and foremost. You heard me with Danny Emmerman. My credibility is at stake. I can't come on here and tell you everything's going to be better if I'm not feeling it myself. I hope it gets better. I'm rooting for these guys. I love being around them. They're generally all really good dudes, including the coaching staff. I'm rooting for Gabe Kapler to evolve into a manager that is like a Bruce Bochy maybe and starts to manage with his gut someday. But today, I don't know the status of his bullpen with like how guys' arms are feeling, how their backs are feeling. I don't know any of that. That's something that's private and privy only to a pitching coach and a manager. Maybe even some of the guys on the team don't know that. So I didn't know. I just based it on, well, DeSclafani pitched 6 in the first game. Webb pitched 7 in the second game, so your bullpen's got to be ready to go. And maybe being Tristan Beck earlier, like in the second inning. I mean, it was obvious. He's trying to get his lefty through it. I know what he's thinking. Like, he'll figure it out. He'll make the adjustment, just like DeSclafani did in Game 1 of the series. And he didn't. And it was ball 4, and it was barrel, and it was a lot of barrels, a lot of hard-hit baseballs. And I just didn't think that Sean Manaea had it today. And he's had a rough start. I mean, we can all agree on that. Doesn't mean he's a bad pitcher or a bad person. He's had a rough start. And I hope he turns it around because he's one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. And then you root for the person, maybe more so than the player. 101-88 with 7:34 left. GP2 shooting free throws to extend the lead. 102-88. So what's that, 14? Warriors up by 14? Did Davis get conked in the head? Is that what we just saw? A shot at Anthony Davis? He got conked in the head? Good. No, I'm kidding. Never root for injuries. I'm just being a jerk. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with some text messages. I see your text messages on the text line, and we'll take your calls next on the Sports Leader.
Davis got hit and is out of the play. Warriors going 5-on-4. And it's a block on James. Payton counted and one. And Davis still hurt in the backcourt.
KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo. Now continues. Follow us on Twitter at KNBR. This is KNBR 104.5 and 680. The sports leader.
Anthony Reeves just made a 29-footer to make it a 9-point game. It's 104-95 Warriors. After Draymond made an 18-footer to extend the lead. So going back and forth, I'm watching. It looks like the Dubs are playing really good defense. That's my take of watching during commercial breaks. So what do I know? I'm getting text messages on the text line. The 925 chiming in. Dude, if Poole attempts another 30-footer with 10 seconds on the shot clock, I may become a Kings fan. Ugh. Is he doing it again? Poole is taking a lot of garbage three-point shots and missing. The 415 chiming in. Oh, my God. The 415, another 415 chiming in. FP, I'm a boomer. It's Rocky, Bullwinkle, Georgia the Jungle, Boris Badenoff, and Natasha, Mr. Peabody, the whole Jay Ward stable. Nobody else. No contest. I don't like any of those. I was not a Rocky and Bullwinkle guy at all. Georgia the Jungle, the song was cool. Georgia the Jungle. Is this it? Space Ghost? Okay. I'm in on that. Georgia the Jungle, the song was good. Look out for that tree. And George was clumsy, and he was like Tarzan, but not very smart. He was a slower version of Tarzan, if you will, which is hard to Steph Curry for two. He makes it 106-95. They're up by 11 with 5:06 left. So many updates here as I read the text line. And let's go to Joe in Manteca. Joe, you're on KNBR. What's going on? Joe.
Hello?
Joe, are you awake?
Hello?
You're on the air, buddy.
Hello? Hey, how's it going?
Good, Joe. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just wanting to call in about the Giants coming home from the game right now. Enjoyed some post-game excitement.
It sounds like you did. Where did we go post-game?
Honestly, I don't even remember the name. Just walked up the Embarcadero and found a nice little place.
All right, Joey, are you home yet?
I am about probably 20 minutes from home. I took my friend. It was his first time at the game. I gave him one of my jerseys, bought him a hat. I made sure he had a good time. I had a good time. It was all good. Just wasn't too happy with Sean Mania. It took a blink and 8-0.
I know. It was a quick one today. Joey, you're not driving, are you?
No. I'm in the passenger seat.
Oh,
Don't
good.
worry.
Thank God for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
That you're in the passenger
We're
seat.
good. We're good.
Okay, good.
We're good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sean Mania. It just sucks that he had a bad game, you know?
He had a bad day, as the song goes, but, I mean, I don't know if he should have been out there that long, and that's the one thing I've been talking about on the show. Like I said, I don't make it a habit to ever question the manager because I know how hard it is, and there's bigger pictures, and they know things that I don't know, but I felt like he was showing you early that he just didn't have it today, and before you knew it was 8-0, and then the game's over. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, no, and it just sucks because I feel like you felt good about him at the beginning of the year, and you thought he was gonna turn it around, and then we're here again.
Yeah, I will see how it goes. I don't think he's going to stay in the rotation, if I had to guess, based on reading between the lines of the manager's quotes.
He needs to go to the bullpen big time.
Yeah, he could be a lefty specialist, come in for an inning, face three hitters, and throw 98 maybe even. He's throwing 95, 96 as a starter.
Yeah, doesn't have to save it, exactly. He can just go for it.
Just like you did after the game today. You went for it.
Thank you. Hey,
right.
Big fan, FB.
Thanks for calling, Joey. Glad you're not driving. Get home safely.
Thank you.
Joey from Manteca calling the sports leader. 4:27 left. Warriors up by 14. Am I seeing that right? 109-95. Did we do the Steph Curry night thing? No, the Lakers just made a 3, so now it's 109-98. Colder than a penguin in Antarctica. What is this on the text line real quick? 562 chiming in. Oh, they're talking about Jordan Poole. All right, well, Steph's got it, and he just made another shot. We got Steph. There's nothing to worry about. We got Steph. So we'll see. 111.98. Steph's fired up. So is the crowd. They're all on their feet. At Oracle. So if you don't know this, as soon as the game ends, Matt Kolsky is going to join the show. He's going to take your calls all the way up till midnight. So we'll do a segment or something together, kind of get him warmed up, get him in the chair. Then I'll bow out graciously and let Matt, who's watched the whole game, break it down for you. He loves basketball. It's his passion. 111-100. So Warriors up by 11 now. Steph dribbling with 3:25 left. Trying to keep their season alive, playing for their lives, their playoff lives. Steph for three, no good. Gary Payton taps it back out to Draymond, and then the ball's out of bounds off of Klay Thompson. Warriors ball with 3:13 left up. I feel good about up by 11 with 3:13 left, right? I should feel okay about that, right? Right, Raph? Right? We're good.
Yes.
I mean, they're playing hard. Every time I look up, the Warriors are playing swarming defense on the Lakers. Anthony Davis, by the way, probably shouldn't have left this out, went to the locker room. He got conked on the head with an elbow. Whose elbow was it, Ralph? Do you remember? Just make something up. It's radio. Let's say Draymond's. Yeah, Draymond's. We'll just go with Draymond. But no, he got conked in the head by an elbow. He's in the locker room. So there's no AD in this game anymore. He shut it down. He's load management in the playoffs right now. No, he looked concussed. Wiggins makes one and a foul. So 113-110 with 2:40. This one's over. This is over. To get Kolsky fired up. Let's take a commercial break, Ralph. How are we doing on commercials? Let's take a long commercial break, try to end this game and get Kolsky on. 113-100, 2:47 left in the fourth quarter. Warriors trying to go back to Los Angeles. We'll give you all the updates right here on KNBR 680, 104.5, the sports leader.
Missed an interview or want to hear it again? Catch them all at knbr.com/podcasts. You're tuned into KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, we got a final from Chase. Warriors 121, Lakers 106. So that's good. The Warriors under Steve Kerr, 8-2 record in elimination games. And the series moves back to Los Angeles. I feel like that was a load management series for the Lakers. I mean, they played kind of hard, but AD's out. Who knows if he's concussed and he's going to miss Game 6 now? That could be a huge break. Steph's sitting on the bench with a not happy look on his face. I'm wondering about Steph's look right now. They keep showing him he's got the towel over his head. Raymond Ritter is grabbing him right now. But he's not happy. Is that a focused look, like we got more business to do? Like if I'm reading body language, that was a weird scene. The clock was running down, and Steph Curry was just staring like pissed off. If I'm guessing looks, and I'm guessing, right? How do I know what Steph Curry's thinking? He looked pissed off. And they just won a big game to extend their season. That was strange. Maybe Matt Kolsky will help us out when he joins the show. Do we have Matt? Let me know when Matt's ready to rock and roll and come on the show. He was watching the game. He'll break it down for us and help us break it down for a couple of segments, maybe one segment, then I'll let him roll with the show on his own till midnight. So he's going to be here for midnight. If you're just leaving the Warriors game, you're in your car, you tuned in the right station, Matt Kolsky and myself are going to help break down the game. Matt watched the whole thing. He probably took notes. He's a basketball guy, and he's going to help. Look at Steph on the postgame. Look at his face. Is he sick? He's really pale, first of all. I have to talk about this. Are you listening, Raph? I need you to listen to this, and then we'll roll sound out. There's a little smile, 27 points, 12 of 24, 8 assists, 39 minutes. He does not look happy at all. All right, let's take a commercial break, and then Matt Kolsky will come back and join us, and maybe he can help us. He's listening to this interview, and he'll know what's going on with Steph Curry. So Matt Kolsky coming up with me next on the Sports Leader. Game 5, 121-106. Lakers still up 3-2 in the series, but a nice night from the Warriors. Steph Curry looked upset on the bench after the game. Steph Curry didn't look thrilled to talk to Charles Barkley, which you can kind of understand that part. But he had the towel over his head, and I have no idea what was going on. So maybe Matt Kolsky can help us. He was listening. He listened to Steph's interview after the game. Matt, what's going on? Thanks for joining the show.
I don't know what was going on with the towel over the head, other than perhaps just Steph taking things as seriously as they need to be taken right now. I thought his demeanor in the interview itself was actually tellingly bright.
Good.
He was almost speaking with a smile. I to play like face language doctor, not even body language, because it was just his face.
Right.
But he seems like a guy who is thriving and a guy who also feels really good about where his team is at, which, look, on a certain level, it's, that's a display of the insanity it requires to be this good at something. Because they're not in a good situation by any reasonable measure. However, he said a couple things that I think were really telling. And to plug myself, a couple things that I had already written down in my notes, which is, first of all, I think we can play better, is one thing he said. And man, FP, before the game, I told you I thought we'd get the Warriors' best effort tonight. And in retrospect, despite a 15-point victory, I don't think we did get the Warriors' best effort.
Interesting. When I looked up, I saw really good defense on occasion, swarming defense. So you watched the whole game. Could that be wrong? Yeah. And there was some weird stuff at the end. What did Jordan Poole didn't get the ball across midcourt by the 10-second thing? Is that what happened? And then a foul late? When was he pissed about that? He was pissed, dude. I'm a good body language guy. I never miss. That wasn't a game face. We still mean business. This isn't over yet. Steph Curry was pissed on the bench, and maybe we'll never find out. You heard a different Steph in the interview, but he was staring straight ahead, and he was frustrated.
You are correct. I am not disputing that at all. I'm just saying by the time he got to the microphone,
he was good.
He was not just good. And I think you're probably onto something. I don't know if it's Jordan Poole. I don't know if it's, I wouldn't be surprised if it is something to do with somebody not giving what he thought would be appropriate effort in, the limited minutes of garbage time. But
let's focus on the win. I'm focusing on the negative. I mean, come on, 121-106. My bad, but it was part of my broadcast, Matt, and I thought I was always good at it, reading body language and reading lips, too. I'm a really good lip reader. Uh-huh. There was no lips to read. And anybody that saw it knows what I'm talking about. By the way, let me promo you real quick. So if you're leaving the Warriors game and you're in your car, Matt's going to be here with you till midnight. I'm going to hang out with him for a couple more minutes, then he's going to take the reins all by himself. So we are here for you. 808 KNBR, Matt Kolsky is going to break down the game. If you're in your car, you're stuck in traffic, you're driving home from the game, the Sports Leader is going to be on till midnight tonight. So you have access to call us. You can text us. You have access to the text line. You could call Matt. He's going to break down the game. Sorry to interrupt, Matt, but yeah, I saw something different there, but let's focus on the fact that they won. Wiggins with 25 tonight, Curry with 27. Draymond had 20 and 10 rebounds, 4 assists. The big story, though, might be that Anthony Davis left the game in the fourth quarter with what looked like to be a possible concussion.
Yeah, obviously that is news to watch over the next, I don't know. Maybe we find out something in the next couple hours. Maybe we don't hear until tomorrow. But obviously, if he does have a concussion, that certainly puts Game 6 in jeopardy. And you know, I don't know if you have concussion experience. FP,
I do.
but
I
would imagine.
I do. Lots.
Yeah. Well, then even potentially Game 7, right? I mean, it is you don't play around with brain health, and you never quite know what you're going to get. So obviously, that's not the way you want to win a series. But if he is out, that is a huge advantage to the Warriors.
Yeah, you'll take that all the way. Yeah, I've had a bunch, and not jokingly either. Like, I had amnesia twice, woke up in the hospital, didn't know my name, didn't know where I was. So, yeah, those things can be iffy. But we're speculating. We don't know. He just looked woozy walking into the locker room down the tunnel.
Right.
Just like
and they
Steph.
suggested on the broadcast that it was a concussion, potential concussion situation. So we have no diagnosis or anything like that. But
we can guess.
Presumably, we will find out at some point. I think, look, on the positive side, this was a particularly aggressive and successful offensive game from Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins. In a lot of ways, it was the Wiggins we saw in his best moments in last year's playoffs, when he sort of really, listen, before last year's playoffs, we regarded Andrew Wiggins differently. Like, that was the first time he really had the opportunity to deliver in big moments, and really did so noticeably. And although I would say that so far since returning literally for the playoffs, he's been really very good, he made his presence felt in a much more noticeable way in tonight's game, and that was a huge factor for the Warriors. Gary Payton II was also excellent, but Draymond too, on the offensive end. And I tweeted about this. Like, there are nights when you see Draymond trying to do too much offensively. He shoots 5 threes or something like that. It overdoes it from a attempting to score standpoint. But I don't understand why there weren't nights like tonight where I felt like, playing totally within himself offensively, he was just more aggressive attacking the hoop, and he ended up with a 20-point night. And then that too was huge. So I think those things covered up for what I would say was not consistent defense. Although you're right, there were moments of really good defense, particularly in the fourth quarter. This was not a consistent night of defense overall for the Warriors. And also, just Klay continues to struggle, and Steph didn't shoot the three well. So again, there is another level for this team, which is encouraging.
I'm FP Santangelo. The voice you hear is Matt Kolsky. He'll be with you till midnight tonight. So if you're in your car, you're driving home from the Warriors game, give us a call, 808 KNBR. Matt's going to answer all your questions. Maybe if you're lost, he's got GPS. He'll help you get home. If you want to talk about the Warriors, he's all locked in. Let's go to Trevor in Reno. Trevor, you're talking to Matt and FP. What's going on?
Yeah, just want to say, to me, it's blatant, obvious sense. Attack the freaking rim and stop relying on the three. The second game, what did they do? They sacked the rim. Holy crap, it made a difference. To me, the Warriors won tonight because they attacked the rim. They played serious. And my God, Jordan Poole, I think he improved. Klay Thompson's still kind of hit and miss, but I think the Warriors, when they attack the rim, when they attack Anthony Davis, they can win. But they need to focus all 4 quarters.
Those are two separate things, right? So you are 100% right that attacking the rim is a necessary thing for them, and they are always at their best. Look, the Warriors may shoot more threes than anybody. I believe they were the number 1 team in attempts this year, but they still are subject to sort of the same rules of engagement. Like, the threes still go down better when they come off of driving kicks, when they come in rhythm, not guys taking off the dribble threes in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock. So that is what this team has to do. And I think you put it best, really, is just be serious on offense, and not some of the time, but all of the time. And I think that really, to me, it's that margin of error that we hear Steve Kerr and sometimes the players talk about so much, that they had this huge margin of error to where they rarely had to be serious for a good stretch of 3 to 5 years. Or at least they could get away with being unserious much more frequently. And that's just not the team they are right now. If they are not serious all the time and focused on what they ought to be doing, and not just heat checking themselves when they're not even hot, it just they need that consistently to be a winning team right now at this level.
Exactly. Last thing I'll say is I think Poole played better, but some of the shots he makes, I just don't get. I mean, he's chucking 3-point shots that are well beyond the arc. I'm like, dude, just pass it in. But tonight I saw a lot more assists, attacking the paint. If they could do that, my God, they've got a team. I don't get it. Sometimes the Warriors just get sloppy with the turnovers. Have a good night.
Yeah, what's interesting about Jordan Poole, and look, anything would have been better than last game. I mean, Game 4 Jordan Poole to me, looked like rookie Jordan Poole, which is unplayable in a playoff game, which is why he didn't play much. Tonight, he had a bad shooting game, which a player like Jordan Poole, even at his best, is going to be subject to bad shooting games, right? They're not going to go away entirely. It's part of the deal. And FP, you were saying he was your favorite player a year ago, and there were still bad shooting games a year ago. The difference between tonight and the other night is, look, he's never going to be a great defender, but he at least felt like he was paying attention on that end. And 4 assists, 0 turnovers. So it's a bad shooting night, but you still get 11 points, 4 assists in 23 minutes. Like, that's not the end of the world. He's not hurting the team. And that's, if he can do that on his off night, then you feel better about giving him more time and giving him the opportunity to have the night where he goes off offensively, which, you know, there's no doubt in my mind he's still capable of that. And I don't think it's some, you know, spectacular defensive performance keeping him from doing that. He's just in a slump. So it'd be great if he starts hitting. Same with Clay. But for both of those guys, they're going to have the off shooting nights. The question is, what else do you do to help the team? And Clay at least had 6 rebounds tonight, 2 blocks, a steal. He played defense. And I think when you contribute in those other ways, you also give guys like Wiggins and Draymond the opportunity to have the nights they have. It all works together for this team.
All right, Warriors win 121-106. It's still 3-2 lead for the Lakers. The series heads back to Los Angeles. 808 KNBR is the number. If you're in your car, you're driving home, Matt Kolsky is going to take you all the way up until midnight tonight, so he'll be here to break down the game. So a good win for the Dubs. Steph Curry looked angry after the game. Maybe I'm speculating, but that's what we do here. I'm a good body language reader. I don't know what he's pissed about. Maybe we'll find out in the post-game press conference. We'll have all that sound for you, too. But Matt Kolsky is going to take you the rest of the way. 808 KNBR, give him a call. You're stuck in your car. You're done with the game. Call Matt. I just call Matt because I like him, but you can call Matt because he's going to break down the Warriors game. So all that coming up next on the Sports Leader.
Giants baseball on KNBR and KNBR FM.
Goodbye! Brandon Crawford hits a rocket.
KNBR San Francisco, a Cumulus station.
What Clay brings, what I bring, what Draymond brings, that's the culture, that's the core, and then everybody else around us buys into it.
Live from the city by the bay, welcome to the KNBR Dubs Playoffs postgame show with your host, Matt Kolsky.
Curry, way downtown, bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
This is Gold-Blooded Radio, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
7 months ago, the Lakers watched the Warriors raise the banner here for their championship. They have the defending champs on the brink, but they cannot close it out tonight. We are headed for a Game 6 as the Warriors beat the Lakers 121-106 in Game 5, and now 8-2 under Steve Kerr in these elimination games.
8-2, pretty good. Hoping to get to 10-2. I guess we'll see. There's a lot to talk about tonight. I think a good performance, obviously. Ultimately get a 15-point win. As I was saying with FP a few minutes ago, big offensive nights from Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green. It's funny, Steph had 27 to lead scoring, but you don't think of that as a big night for Steph necessarily. It was an exceptional Steph Curry night, especially given that he did not have the three going. And you could see him attacking the rim, trying to get it rolling, and then taking threes to see if it was getting the three going, and it just never got rolling. It never came. 3 for 11 from beyond the arc, which means, his 12 for 24 was actually 9 of 13 from 2-point range. And then he has 8 assists, just 2 turnovers, really just an all-around excellent performance. Did play 40 minutes. More than you would have loved for him to play, but you got to do what you got to do. 8-2 in elimination games and 2 more to go just to get through the Lakers. The good news is that I don't know if it's good news. A piece of news that may affect that is Anthony Davis's status is up in the air now. We'll see what happens. I don't want to rejoice in a guy getting a head injury, but if he misses time, it obviously affects the Warriors' chances in a positive way. We'll see what happens with that. And I think secondarily, this team can be a lot better. They can be a lot better defensively. They virtually all of the Lakers starters were in double digits, shooting over 50%. Now I'm not totally counting one of their starters and giving Dennis Schroeder credit, because Jared Vanderbilt was, ineffective offensively, and I think that was something that affected this game. Has affected them the last couple games. He has not really been able to play much. Only plays 11 minutes tonight. But LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves,